Hi everyone, and welcome to the Seal of Approval Christmas party. This is probably not exactly going to be the last Seal of Approval of the year. I'm probably going to do one next year, but this is kind of like the the best of the year, if you can kind of put it that way. We're gonna talk like merriment and joy and all of that lovely, gooey, festive feels, and
Gay.
because and
Gay.
I mean, like, oh, this is really, let's have a really, really nice stream. You're just like, no.
The council has
No.
spoken.
I
It
mean,
is gay.
there's a big difference between nice and gay.
There will be no fun. Yeah.
So, just to let everyone know, this is also a charity stream. So all of your super chats will be, as after YouTube's taken their cuts, of course, but all kind of profits will be going to the Cornish Seal Sanctuary. Because I've talked about seals a lot on the stream. You all know that I love them. And it's the season of giving, so I think it's a good time as any to give to British seals. So with that, let's introduce the first of our panel, because we're getting quite a few people on. As usual, there's Scrump.
Yes, hello. I am here as usual.
Merry Christmas.
Me. Yes, Merry Christmas, guys. It's the fucking 23rd.
Yes,
it's Christmas Eve tomorrow.
Time
That's
to be festive.
Mm.
So how is Christmas in the Scrump household?
A bit low key. Obviously, with the lockdown and stuff, I had to cancel all my travel plans because all the hotels got shut. But it's fine. I'll just be seeing like family and stuff and things.
Yeah.
But it's a very low key. Christmas has essentially been cancelled by the Big Bad Boris. So we're all dealing with that.
Yeah, like I had to kind of. Like, I very nearly didn't do anything at all. I was just going to, because where I live is now in tier 4. But it turns out that this is something which not a lot of people seem to be aware of. If you're a single adult, like a single adult household, you can still go and visit people regardless of what tier you're in because of the support bubble. So I've been able to use that to go and visit my parents, which has been really helpful to the point where I'm convinced that come January, they're going to take support bubbles away.
It's weird that you have to consult a chart before you go anywhere, and you have to add like special modifiers.
Yeah,
but on the plus side, Scrump, all of the autists absolutely love that. Just the more charts, the better.
It doesn't make sense though. The rules conflict with each other, and they have holdover rules. They never clarify. It doesn't. It doesn't help with the autists.
No. And as you can see, we're also joined by Not So Obvious.
Merry Christmas, one and all.
And how is Christmas in the obvious house?
I feel a bit like the man from U.N.C.L.E. at the moment, sort of sneaking things between different households to give presents to people. Definitely not, got Soviet-style gift exchange happening in the streets at predetermined times away from the authorities.
I've just seen that. I just added Konstantin to stream. I just noticed his camera's just been absolutely spurging out.
I don't know what's going on with it. I'm going to switch it up to a shitty one.
It's very cyberpunk, is what it is.
Yeah. You mean shit? Yeah.
Okay, you need to take your cyber inhaler.
Yeah. There we go. Now I'm yellow, but there we are.
Yeah, that'll be fine. And of course, Konstantin, how are you?
I'm good. As you can see, our producer is not here. He's gone home for Christmas illegally. Hence, me being late, nothing working, etc. But otherwise, I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm good. I'm good as it can be. I mean, at the end of the day, it's Christmas, and it shouldn't really matter how bad a situation the government puts on us. Like, you can still try and do something, even if it involves ignoring them. Which, like I said earlier, I've had to use the social bubble or the support bubble thing to go and visit my parents. But even if that didn't exist, I would have thought to go and see them anyway, because at this point I'm like, you can't kill Christmas. Like, for me, it's like the most important time of year. And like,
is it like V for Vendetta with a Santa mask? You can't kill an idea.
It's just an idea.
Christmas bulletproof.
And of course we're joined as well with Count Dankula. How are you?
Happy Hanukkah.
Oh.
Thanks, mate.
Shalom. Yes.
So we're still waiting on lots of other guests coming on. We've got Tailed Feature on after he's eaten his beans on toast. We've got Sophia Narwitz, Arielle Scarcella, Buck Angel. We've got Pastor Louis coming on later. We also have Haryan Gladiv, who I noticed had actually sent in a super chat. So let me just bring.
You're keeping the seals fed. You're keeping the seals fed there.
Here's some money for the seals. # rock gang. # simp for real queens.
Fair enough. Like I said, I didn't realize Tail Feature actually ate. I just thought he absorbed nutrients to his skin. The plant.
Well, we'd claim it was some kind of photosynthesis, but he lives in Scotland, so we know it can't be that.
He absorbs cold. That's what it is. No, one thing about him is, because he has no sense of smell, he actually doesn't have a sense of taste or anything like that either. So, I've seen the stuff he eats. He literally eats if he treats food purely as simple sustenance. That's it. He'll take. It's any random shit, and then he'll be like, "Yeah, that's the daily allotment of calories." And
Mate, Marcus, is he like Dozer from The Matrix, where he's pouring that slop into the tin, like everything the human body needs?
That is it. That literally is it. Yes, that's what he does. Oh man,
honestly, deep lore here. Whilst Tailed isn't here, which is.
Also, Tailed, if you're listening, you need to come on and defend yourself, mate. It's not.
He sent Sue a picture of his dinner once, and Sue got legitimately angry. He can't eat that, and I'm like, well, he does. That's just what he does.
There's not enough Clutie in that diet.
I really actually want to know what an average meal for Tail Feature is, because I remember going to Weatherspoons with him. I think we were waiting at the train station for you, and then you went off to some sort of UKIP big massive meal. And I don't actually remember him eating anything. He kind of just bought me a burger and then watched me eat it.
That sounds.
Imagine.
We're at fetish levels now, ladies and
gentlemen.
Watch
you eat it. Just feast it.
I'm going to do that. See if I ever go on a date again, I'm going to take a girl out for dinner, but only let her order food and just stare at her the whole time while she eats.
Imagine being Konstantin Kisin, who's been on mainstream television and being invited to this to discuss another YouTuber's eating habits.
Yeah, I switched off a long time ago, mate.
I've been on mainstream television. It just wasn't for good reasons.
You and me both, Marcus.
Dank, you managed to penetrate institutions at every level of society.
I almost got the BBC as well, but I made too many Jimmy Savile jokes, I think. Wasn't invited back.
I think that was the same night where I told them that it didn't matter how good or bad you were, we were still going to laugh and support you as your friends. And that's the BBC.
Yes, thanks for that. Yeah, I remember that. The producers actually came up to me and went, "Do you know what he just said about you?" And I'm like, "Yep. So, sounds like him." Yeah.
Is the BBC just not used to any level of banter?
Bring on the banter.
So we've got Konstantin only for a short time. So rather than talking about Tailed Feature's diet, what Mark said.
I'm just slowly undressing because I was like, let's look proper and get ready and get the webcam out. And I see none of you've made any effort whatsoever. So I'm taking my formal jacket off. The pants are halfway down. Exactly. That's what's happening here.
So it's a comfy stream. It's laid back. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Which is another way of saying that Marcus has been naked for 3 hours.
3 days.
So with that, let's actually talk about something before we go.
This is definitely fun for us. I'm not sure about the audience, but for us, it's great.
Wasn't this at one point a Christmas stream? Yes,
it is. And so with that, one reason I wanted to get Konstantin on is because what I want to ask everyone is, rather than asking what their best memory of the year is, because we spent most of it inside. So not many people have actually kind of made so much good memories, but but everyone's made bad memories. And so I want to know, for everyone, what their fail of the year is, of everything which has gone on. Whether it's COVID or BLM or whatever, what thing has just kind of been the most face palming, kind of actual spectacular fail in a year of failure. So I want to start with Konstantin, because I know we've only got you to a short time.
No, I'll be here for another 20 minutes or so. So for us, and it's not just me, it's also Francis, who I co-host the show with.
Yeah.
What happened was we criticized BLM, or rather we had guests on, mainly black guests, who criticized BLM.
Yeah.
And I wrote a piece in The Spectator saying, I don't support BLM and neither should you. And the next time we came into our studio, which at the time was in a comedy club, they basically instigated a massive row over the milk. So Francis made a joke about their milk. The joke being that we had Lawrence Fox on for an interview, and Francis looked in the fridge and went, "Sorry, this is a woke comedy club." And there was only soy milk or something, and he just went, "We've only got cunty milk." It's a good joke. And the funny thing is about it is Francis is the one that drinks that milk. He's actually lactose intolerant himself. But anyway, the next day we got a 3-page email telling us that we'd humiliated the club in front of Lawrence and blah, blah, blah. Basically, we got kicked out because Francis made a joke about milk.
This is a comedy club.
Yeah, this is
somewhere live comedy is done.
Wait, what happened? What club are you kicked out of?
Dankula's finally paying attention.
No, I've never heard anything about this.
We didn't make a big deal out of it because, in fairness, the club where this was at, and I don't want to go into their name and everything, because they gave us a studio for over a year, which was really good for us, and we needed it, and we couldn't afford our own at the time. But the point is, we got kicked out of our studio, what was then our studio, over a joke about milk, but actually it was about BLM, as we sort of later found out. So we ended up basically, having nowhere to record, no notice. And having to fucking come up with a new studio in a couple of weeks' time, basically. So that was brutal. But having said that, we've landed on our feet. So it's not really at the end of the day, it's not been a fail. But at the time, it's definitely the worst thing that happened this year for me. For sure.
Yeah.
Hold on, is it the club where we recorded?
No, they wouldn't do that.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, that's why I was like, really? Okay, never mind then. Right?
No.
So, how long were you recording at this other club for? Because I'm assuming it's the one which Dank's referring to. I'm assuming that's not the one which I recorded at.
No, so the one that Dankula's talking about is the backyard where Comedy Unleashed happens. Was the one we're talking about, Rose, is the one that we recorded your interview at.
Oh, the one in Islington.
Yeah, that's
the one that we're trying to keep private.
I mean, I think I just want to say, there's no negative feelings towards them. They did what they thought was the right thing by their standards, and like I said, they gave us a studio for a year and a half basically for free, so we've got no complaints. But I think that moment with BLM in March, April, was it, maybe even May, it was so heated, and it became so for people who are woke, it became such a polarizing moment in their mind. They were like, either I fucking back this all the way or I'm racist, and anyone who didn't was in their head racist. And so I just thought it was such a it was such a terrible moment in the year. And it was terrible for us because, like, you know, if you think about it, we basically got cancelled for talking to black people who didn't support BLM, which I thought was an interesting progressive approach, wasn't it?
I
we
gotta
must
say
listen to black people except these ones.
Well, that's kind of been the mantra of the entire year. I mean, when I've looked at people like Dominique Samuels, like, you know, she's like you have the kind of the woke narrative for, you know, you got to listen to black people, but then you will have real kind of soy guzzler looking lefty white men who will use
milk from now on. That's pretty good.
Yeah, who will like actually use slurs that I don't think I would be allowed to kind of say on this stream, even within context. And yet somehow that's not the racist bit. I mean, I find it similar. You know, I talk about trans issues a lot, and it's like when I hear people talk about, you know, listen to trans people, and then you end up listening to me, and it's like, no, not that trans person.
Oh wait, no,
he's wrong.
People, yeah.
But yeah, I ended up with that myself in September. Not just when I appeared on Good Morning Britain, but I appeared on I can't remember what it's called. It's a Sunday show on BBC One. I think it's called the Sunday Show.
Sunday Morning Live. Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah. And like after I appeared on that, I did notice that a lot of people were like kind of condemning my appearance on that as well. So like all of a sudden the media is giving too much time to the wrong trans person. And so it is actually, I suppose it's like fascinating to see on the outside, but it's even more interesting when it's actually happening to you. When you see the kind of like the gears just aren't turning in these people's heads, like and it makes almost no sense. It makes no sense.
No, but it's a weapon, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
I used to when I was able to do comedy before the Great Plague, I used to quite often share journeys to gigs with another comedian. And at this point, he didn't really know what my thoughts are, and the fact that I wasn't sort of, you know, a massive communist, and you know, which made me stand out on the comedy circuit. So we would talk about stuff, and he would be like talking about how it's really important that we, you know, immigrant voices are like, you know, respected, and you know, like he was always like going on about protecting me, like minorities, and all this sort of shit. Yeah. And the moment I turned down that stupid contract and it became a big story, this guy immediately switched, and I did a lot for him. I helped him. I kind of gave him advice. I drove him to gigs, whatever. The moment that happened, he instantly started posting shit about me behind my back, like all this sort of stuff. Like suddenly I went from being the suppressed immigrant to like this evil bigot, like overnight. Yeah. And it never occurred to him that I was still the same person. You know what I mean?
Wasn't that virtually the same thing that happened when they had the discussion around the John Cleese comment about whether or not London was an English city, and you turned up as the one person like, no, not really.
Yeah, I mean, Adam Ray trying to convince me that I'm English was brilliant.
It was a panel full of. I don't think there was an English person on the panel, was there?
No, there wasn't. No, there wasn't.
No. Big funk there. Very big funk.
Yeah.
Okay. So how about you, Dank? So for you, what has been the fail of the year?
You ever just over the course of a year just accidentally become a gay icon?
I swear to God, Frank, I'm glad you chose that. If you had said something to do with IVF, your wife would be in so trouble.
Oh no, that was no. In fact, there was funny stories about IVF as well, like all the time. They make you they make Sue take like all manners of drugs, like all manners. She has to get like stomach injections and pills and fucking all manners of like crazy shit. But they basically just said to me, don't masturbate for 3 days before you come in to like give your sample.
Before you come in.
Yeah. And I ended up going like, all right, 3 days, 2 weeks, bro. 2 weeks, bro. Right. And then so basically I almost had to ask for a second jar. and the funny thing was like see how in there I obviously required some mental stimulation, you know, just to get the balls rolling. But ended up I had to connect to their Wi-Fi on my phone, and I just decided what's the weirdest shit I can look up that's going to make their IT guy go like, what the fuck? And so it was obviously Futanari, right? So I ended up
I thought you were going to say your own porn, because that does exist.
Yeah, yes, it does exist. Yes, yeah, unfortunately, but I've changed my mind on free speech. But ended up I did the thing in the jar, and then I went out into the waiting room to where the nurses and all that are, and there was nobody there. There was just no one there, so I'm just standing there holding a jar of cum, there's nobody fucking here. I thought
warm.
When you saw just sad Dankula holding a jar of cum.
Yeah, have you ever see that? Have you ever seen that GIF of fucking what's his face from that fucking Tarantino movie where he's just looking around with the coat folded over his arm? Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. John Travolta. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I was that, but holding a jar of cum instead of a jacket, right? And I didn't know what to do. And then 20 minutes pass, and I'm like, I could probably just nip outside for a cigarette, right? So I went outside, but I'm smart. I'm smart, you know, right? So I kept the jar of cum under my armpit to keep it warm, right? Because they say you need to keep it warm. So I went outside. I'm standing next to other members of staff having a cigarette, and I'm like, none of these people know about the jar of cum I have in my armpit right now.
There are comic artists who are constructing a timeline right now.
Yeah, and it ended up I went back in, and the nurse was standing in the waiting room, and she was genuinely mad. She was genuinely mad that I went outside for a cigarette. I just popped outside for a smoke, and she was like, "You did what?" You're
like, don't worry, I've got more.
We've just done the egg retrieval, blah blah blah, and she chews me out in the waiting room, in front of other members of staff, and I had to bashfully reach into my armpit to pull out the jar of cum and hand it to her, right, in front of people, and she just storms off, and I'm like, all right, okay, and I was like, and then I sat down next to my wife, isn't this magical? It's magical. The miracle of life.
I mean,
oh my!
Yeah, all the medical kind of paranoia is justified. I mean, impregnating a trap is an extremely it's a big medical milestone.
Yes, indeed. Yes, science has come so far. But it ended up they this was the thing that was weird is there's a phobia I have, right? And this is it's not surgery itself, but surgical settings. See how if you're in a really clean white room with all the tools lying around everywhere, and the big lights on the ceiling, and there's people done up like surgeons. I've got a weird phobia of settings like that. So basically, when we were doing the actual impregnation, I'm in this room, Sue's got her legs up in the stirrups, the eggs loaded in this big syringe with a tube, and basically
fire the egg cannon.
Yeah, they put it in and fire the egg cannon. And I'm sitting there and I'm white as a sheet, and Sue's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I think I'm going to faint." No, man. Luckily, I didn't. But see, do you know how much of a pussy you feel when Sue's the one surrounded by all these doctors and shit like that? I'm just the little dickhead sitting in a chair in the corner of the room, and they all turn around to me like, "Are you okay, sir?"
Do you need the nurse to come and whisper sweet things into your ear to keep you calm?
Yeah, well, that was the thing is they hit the plunger and they're like, "Yeah, congratulations," and I'm like, the real thing is a lot more fun, but hey, oh, but yeah, but that was it. I get yelled at. I get yelled at over a jar of cum. That was my big failure of the year.
This is just incredible. So we've gone from a lot was cancelled by BLM and lost a studio to I was walking around to a jar of condoms.
We're covering all extremes here.
Did you expect anything less? I mean, really?
I mean, it's like I should have just complained or some shit. I'm like, bitch, I'm the one paying for all this, right? If I want to go outside for a smoke with my future daughter, like in a jar, like that's
the most expensive wank you've had in a while, you know.
The strangest stork story I've ever heard.
Yeah, how many dads could like go out for a nice wee walk with their daughter before they've even been conceived?
Okay, you could have had a wee pram.
Well, at least
tiny
half
pram.
The cum pram.
But yeah, anyway, Scrump, what about you? What have you done this year?
Merry Christmas, everyone.
I don't think I have a story to talk about.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas.
I'll definitely take this opportunity to call out fucking Destiny again for pussying out of having a debate, even though he said he'd have one on stream. Also, you not being able to come into that stream was kind of funny. I don't know. That whole election night was a bit of a debacle, but I guess my fail of the year is probably just getting Dev demonetized by getting really drunk and saying the Game Awards. It wasn't a hard R. I'm too OG. I'm from the hood, so they're trying to cramp my style.
The hood, also known as pole. It's just they wear a different type of hood.
It's a hood, okay. It's a hood. But yes, the literal hood.
Like, this is supposed to be like a wholesome charity stream for seals.
And what's not wholesome about it?
No, we're going to right, Rose. Think of the people you invited, and of course we're going to talk. Well, of course, the subject matter went on to come and the N word. Right?
I take full responsibility. I'm sure you had a very wholesome anecdote before I mentioned your wife.
We've gone from Black Lives Matter to Cum Jazz Matter to Game Awards Matter, so we're on a trajectory here, definitely.
Oh,
Tails, save us. Tell us what did you have for dinner? There's been much speculation.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
Tell me what you thought I had first.
I don't know, Dan, you're the expert here.
Yeah.
You were just like, I wonder what he's having for dinner. Is that it?
Pretty much.
All right, okay. I thought
Like, there was a legitimate conversation about your diet.
No, there wasn't much discussion of your ethnographic foods. No.
Well, just as well, because whatever it is, it was worse than that.
Was it some kind of protein and wheat paste with all the nutrients the human body needs?
You mean beans on toast? Yes, I had beans. I did a couple of sausages as well, pushing the boat out.
Oh, God damn it.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's a wonder I'm still alive, to be honest.
It's good. Especially as that's your first meal in 3 weeks, yeah.
It's just two feature. What are vitamins? What are amino acids? What is protein?
By the way, you're not far off.
Oh, my God.
Why do I feel tired all the time?
Dear.
It's never sunny here. We never see the sun.
Anyway, Merry Christmas, Tailed Feature. Thanks for joining this evening. How are you spending Christmas in the Feature household?
The Feature household.
That didn't come out right.
Yeah, I'm going to see my mum and dad, and that's it. Basically, I have no idea what the plan is. We'll probably end up just like playing games and watching telly and stuff. That's probably it. Just a nice, wholesome, standard Christmas fare, I think.
Oh. So anyway, one of the things that we're going through on this episode is everyone's going to be talking about what their biggest fail of the year is. So it doesn't have to necessarily be you making the failure. It can be something which has happened in the news. But what do you think is the biggest fail of the year?
Can I just choose the whole year and everything that has happened?
No, because that's a shit answer.
Damn, you're going to make it difficult for me. Well, I think basically the Tories being even more disappointing than they, could possibly have imagined them to be.
It's actually amazing. I genuinely find it amazing. Like this time last year, I certainly think Mark was with me on this. Like, I think Mark, you voted Tory, didn't you?
Yeah, of course I did. The alternative was communism. What else am I going to pick?
Yeah, and so like a lot of us actually kind of felt really positive at the end of last year, thinking, maybe this will be a government that finally does something right.
Oh, did you have a positive vibe for it?
I
never had that.
Yeah, I genuinely had a positive vibe, and
but
now I'm full exhilarationist.
The choice. To be fair, the choice was either: do you want to have a really, really bad flu or AIDS? And we chose the bad flu, and it turns out the flu's probably terminal.
It turns out the flu really was AIDS.
Yeah. The real AIDS was the Tories inside us all along. I never particularly had faith in the Tories, but it was just kind of look at the alternative.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. Although I do know a lot of people kind of got behind Boris, and then they just failed to do anything with their majority, which could be construed as one of the biggest fails of the year.
Boris Johnson is my fail of the year.
Yeah.
And it's like from the sounds of things. Now, I've not been following it too much because I don't really care all that much about Brexit anymore. But the recent kind of rumblings that a deal might have actually been done between the EU and the UK, and I'm part of me is really, really hoping that Boris has just bent the knee on everything that Brexiteers don't want to have happen, just as a way of being able to speed up the destruction of the Tory party. I'm genuinely, I'm full on. When it comes to the Tories, I'm a full on exhilarationist. Yes, just everything that just leads to the downfall, because it's the only way they're going to learn. Like people making all sorts of apologies for the way that Boris has handled this year, and all the bizarre kind of the junk food rules that he wants to bring in. There's the kind of the surveillance state stuff that Scrump talked about a couple of weeks ago. There's all of these
that's terrifying on its own. I'd put that out of my mind. There's only so much nightmare you can hold in there at one time before it starts to kind of just become white noise.
They are asking for the accelerationism at this point. It's a case of, we want everybody to remain in their homes 24 hours a day for an entire year. Also, we're banning porn. Blah, blah, blah. It's like every single person is just putting on the fucking skull face mask. What do you mean I can't have my 2D waifus?
I think you'll find, Marcus. I think you'll find, Marcus, that we are not banning porn, but you shall have to go down to your local off-license and purchase a license in order to watch and partake of such discrepancies.
Remember when they tried to label the female orgasm as violent sex?
Oh god!
I remember that.
Well, in the same way that it is illegal to make porn containing female ejaculate in this country, because it is considered to be that way.
I think it's hardly surprising that the Tory party consider giving a female an orgasm such an outlandish thing.
This may be a good time for me to jump off. Obviously, not to do any research on the matter at hand. But thanks for having me, guys.
We'll expect your piece on this in The Spectator next week. Thank you.
It is absolutely coming.
I'm sure.
Thank
you so much for coming on, Konstantin. If you guys haven't already subscribed to Trigonometry, please do so. They do some really, really good content. For example, I was interviewed by them last year, so go check that out. But yeah, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule. Really appreciate it.
Everybody, have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Merry Christmas.
Take care. Bye.
Hey. And as one man leaves, another man enters. Owain is joining.
One man enters, one man leaves. Sorry.
Hello. But it's not a man; it's a Welsh person.
You're all Welsh to me.
Nadolig. Owain, Nadolig Llawen.
Nadolig Llawen I ti hefyd, Rose.
I too read Lord of the Rings.
Are you a member of the Grey Folk?
Dankula would definitely be a Gimli, though, wouldn't he?
I would be a Gimli. Yes. My wife's also a dwarf.
I was gonna say, yeah.
It's just
A
the
halfling.
camera. The camera is very deceptive.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be on, by the way.
Let's how is Christmas in Cymru?
It's okay, you know. But back in lockdown again, obviously hardcore. But today, I had to go and pick up my mate who was going on a train to Manchester. Ended up going to North Wales, so I've driven to North Wales and back, which was fun. Up to your country.
Yes, that's where I am now. I'm in North
Yes.
Wales. We've gone through the border.
I've done 180 miles today, so I'm pretty shattered. But yeah, all's good.
Oh, I'm glad to hear it. So, one of the things that we're talking about on this evening's episode, because 2020 has not been a good year for the vast majority of the people on this planet. But there is something kind of special about it and how bad it's got at times. And so this could be related to you, or it could be to, you know, in regards to like what has happened on this planet. But Owen, what would you consider to be the biggest fail of the year?
Pubs being shut all the time. Like because my family are all publicans.
Because you okay.
Yeah, and I do enjoy going to the pub.
I thought it was literally just going to be I like the pub. Pubs closed.
Yeah. There's many reasons, but you know you just can't really have a
class alcoholic.
I too like no. Liking the pub is a good enough reason.
Yeah.
It is.
And you know, and like I like the pub. My basically I grew up in a pub, literally, and so the pub having it shut means I can't like socialize with my friends. Like, can you imagine when the last time you go out on a proper night out? It's almost over a year ago. What?
I know. It's insane. I think the last time I went to a pub, it must have been it was I think it was just before my birthday, which was the end of February. Like that's the last time I actually remember being in a pub. And yeah, I was going to have a big party, and I ended up thinking like, nah, you know, I can just do something later on in the year, and then 2020 happened. And so that didn't happen.
The last time I was in a pub was Six Nations. It tells you how long ago it was.
I think that was when I was in a pub last, actually, because I remember watching the Six. I do remember watching Six Nations.
Yeah, and it's so depressing because like they closed the pubs. That means you can't really talk to anyone outside of your friends group either, and you can't have any big groups at either. And there was a point where you had the rule of 4, you know, that stupid crap before they just decided to get rid of it all entirely. And it was it's like trying to pick a party for an RPG, or like, you know, you have to try and get who's going to work with this person on this night, you know. And suddenly you get told.
We already have an elf and a dwarf here, so
imagine having more friends than just makes up a single RPG party in the first place. Really.
That's too. It's 4 too many, Mark.
So I think this, just to read out of quite a few super chats that have come through already. So as I mentioned earlier, all profits from this stream are being donated to the Cornish Seal Sanctuary to help out British seals, especially during this time where we don't know what the fishing rights post-Brexit would be. We need to make sure that we're protecting British fish for British seals. None of them foreign.
Fish nationalism, yes. Seal nationalism.
Nationalism.
So you do want Brexit to be a success?
Well, only
To
for the
protect
seals.
seals.
Exactly. So just to go through the super chats real quick, Drew McAdam, who isn't able to watch it at the moment, but did send in a super chat yesterday when I posted the link to the video, saying, so upset I'm missing this live because of work, especially because Dank and Not So Obvious are on there, but happy holidays to all, and may the seals smile upon you. Which is very sweet. So Mr. Tickle Trunk has paid $2 Canadian with a little fox that's kind of dancing. Thank you. Another $2 for Mr. Tickle Trunk. Who the hell let this Russian spy in? I think he's now slinked off. Jonathan Railton with 199. Dank, why has Sue shifted to seal punting?
There's an ongoing meme now where, see, because Sue's so wholesome and she's so nice, people are like inventing horrible shit that she's done. Yeah, people have said like I made up a story where I said I saw her like volley a penguin over a fence at the zoo, and that's why she's not allowed back. And then people started making shit up. I even made up the thing that she would go down to the orphanage and to adopt children, then just as she was about to sign the paperwork, she would go psych and then moonwalk out the building. So now this is a new one now. This is a new one now where people are saying that she punches seals, and she does. I've seen her. She runs around the beach punching them. Like, see, she aims for the ones that look happiest because she says she just can't stand it.
None of this is true, by the way.
All of it's true. Every bit of it. I've stayed quiet for too long.
You're actually an abused man. That's what's going on. She's used you as the club to beat the seals.
She has.
This stream is raising money for seals.
To protect seals.
Protect
the seals from Sue.
If everybody would like to donate, Sue must be stopped. This money is actually going to hire a hitman to stop Sue. We're trying to hire the A-team.
Including the migration of all seals from the North Sea and Scottish waters down to the Cornish lands.
Sue overheard me. Everyone quiet. She just came into the room.
Hello, Susan. It's lovely to see you.
Nothing. We're not talking at all about you shoving your fists up two seals and then using said seals as boxing gloves to beat up other seals. We're not talking about that at all.
Please don't hurt us too.
I was having a pet pregnancy nap. I was doing nothing.
I love how Sue is so wholesome that she just refuses to respond to any of your degeneracy.
She's learned to actually just completely ignore like 90% of my bullshit. Yeah, like, it's like I'll come in the room and say something to her, and then she'll just go, so anyway, and just she just go. I guess
it's not worth responding to otherwise.
But yeah, send us money or the seal gets it.
Oh God.
Hi Sue, Merry Christmas if you're still there.
Oh, Rose says Merry Christmas.
Oh, Merry Christmas.
Oh, now I feel bad for dunking on Sue.
I don't feel bad. Think of the seals.
Just think of the seals.
Marcus, tell us something else horrible she's done. So
No, you shouldn't feel bad. She is the epitome of evil. Lovecraft couldn't have wrote a greater evil.
So awesome.
Cthulhu.
But yeah, all the nations.
Cthulhu for Targan.
Cthulhu has arrived.
I don't even make you go out and get my cravings. I get my own cravings. Isn't that nice?
Sue literally went out at like 11 o'clock at night and drove around like 6 different shops to find pavlova.
Yes, I saw that, and it made me get my own. And I was just like, damn.
She didn't find any, and she came home in such a foul mood that she punched 10 seals.
Oh, is that all? I mean, that's a light night for them. Right? It's usually at least a baker's dozen of seals.
Stop talking about abusing seals on my stream.
Rose, we're protecting seals. Get the super chats in, people.
This is an intervention, Rose. Believe it or not.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm trying to bring that lassie up because she loves seals.
I know.
That's no fair.
Oh dear.
Maybe a little.
Oh.
So go back to the super chats. Mr. Tickle Trunk again with the 50 Canadian dollars. Have a happy holiday, all. I'm a fan of all of you degenerates. Glad so many are going to be in the same place. Special thanks to Rose and Konstantin. I've gotten a lot out of your interviews. Here's to the new year, hopefully unfucking itself. Now, thank you so much. That's a really generous donation. Thank you.
Hopefully, yes.
Jesus Fried Christ with 279 Canadian. This is now a hashtag rock gang stream with
No, it
3
isn't.
Easter Island faces. No, it isn't. And when Har Ying Gladiv joins in, he will be told straight. John S with £2. All semi-aquatic marine mammals' lives matter. Well, some are more important than others.
For just £3 a month, you too can protect seals from deranged Scottish women.
Failed abortion with 100 rubles. Made Sue take all kinds of drugs. That just sounds like a regular Scottish pastime.
I saw a comment in chat saying that Sue is anti-seal-metic.
Yeah, and also that she preheated the oven.
Sealophobic.
Sealophobic.
Arc 5 at $5. What are you talking about? This is Christmas. Don't you remember one of the 3 kings bring the gift of jizz and calling Christ a hard R? God damn it.
That is our Christmas story.
Jesus Fried Christ again with the 279. Cross the Rubicon Don. Hashtag Insurrection Act. Angie with the $10. Merry Christmas to my favorite SEAL team.
Amazing.
That's a very good one.
Yeah. Mr. Cobblestone with the $20. Hey, Dankula, you might not be aware, but the Who's of Whoville have launched an investigation for their missing Christmas decorations and presents. Sue wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would she? Have a Merry Christmas.
Yes, she threw them at seals. I'm sorry, I'll stop.
Presents, seals. That's very nice.
And finally, Huts with the £10. Please use this money to build a wall around Sue. She must be stopped.
Build a wall.
We're going to build a wall and Chat's going to pay for it.
Yeah.
Protect the seals.
So back onto topic. One person we haven't asked for their favourite fail of the year is Not So Obvious.
Oh, I thought you'd pass me by, and I would escape this particular line of questioning.
No one escapes.
Nobody escapes.
On a personal level, because we've had like a mixture of the personal and the not and the impersonal. When I went up and did some reporting for TR News earlier in the year, and then having you don't mention his name. Do not mention his name. And then having to explain to my parents that he's not this awful person that I'm working for, and that he's not actually as bad as they've been led to believe, and they didn't really take that too well. That was probably my biggest fail of the year, if I'm honest. I'm still yet to convince them on that one. So there we go.
Certainly an interesting one. It's certainly a bit strange. Okay, so one of my kind of favorite fails of the year is also kind of combined with one of my personal favorite things that's happened to me this year, and that, of course, is my appearance on Good Morning Britain with Benjamin Button.
Oh, that one. That was hilarious.
That was quite wild.
Was his name actually Benjamin Button?
It's even more cringe. It's Butterworth.
Oh yes.
It just sounds like a cunt.
Benjamin Butterworth, the second.
It really does hang out a big sign saying I got bullied in school, but also I deserved it. So,
I've noticed that he seems to have like an interesting habit of basically going on all sorts of different talk shows and then getting bullied by whoever the host is. And this seems to happen to him every single time. Like, not even like it isn't so much the fact that he's just having a disagreement. He just seems to constantly get bullied.
I mean, it's when you've got a person like that who is constituted of literally so much soy, they can't help it. It's like their normal state of being.
I just have a picture of Butters from South Park, but really posh.
Let me open. Let me get a picture of him up. He looks pretty cool. I think he doesn't look like what you would expect.
It's like what's
It's
quite
all
funny
Wednesday.
about that appearance for us is I walked downstairs and my parents were watching it watching Good Morning Britain while it was on, and I was just like, oh, I know that person, and they both just looked at me and just went, I was like, yeah.
I cannot with those glasses, as the youth would say.
Yeah, they're very.
I see just from that picture, I can tell you that I have fucked that man's girlfriend.
He's gay.
That's how much a loser he is. He's gay. He's gay, and I still fucked his girlfriend.
Isn't it? Or does his forehead get bigger as it goes up?
It's got the mushroom tip to the top of his head.
Like I didn't want this. I didn't want to talk about it just to kind of bully him. Based
I know
on
it is beautiful.
Oh no!
What did you expect?
My point is that we didn't even intend to bully him, and yet here we are bullying him.
I mean,
It's
look at that picture. Like that's. I'm sorry. That's having a period around sharks. Honestly,
You just can't not. It's impossible.
Hold on a second. Hold on. Someone's just said this. Odd they won't read sponsored messages. Maybe Rose don't care. What don't I care about?
We're reading super chats.
I have been reading them. We read them periodically. So all super chats will be read out at moments in the show. But yeah, I just found it really interesting just how many times, especially on Good Morning Britain, he basically just goes on there and gets an absolute telling off by Piers Morgan.
Maybe it's his kink, and we shouldn't kink shame.
And then I was a part of it. I was a part of one of his dressing downs. And in fact, Russia, I think is it RT? Is it Russia Today or?
Yeah.
Yeah, like they actually wrote a story about me. Like specifically about me on that thing. Let me just bring it up. It was.
I think just whilst you get that up, it's also a notable fail has to have been Kay Burley and the whole Matt Hancock thing after the absolute disgrace that was her dressing down by Sky.
Oh, what was that?
Oh, when Matt Hancock broke the rules and went off to see his lover, so she was sitting there in number 10's.
It wasn't Matt Hancock. It was
Neil Ferguson.
Neil Ferguson, that's the one.
Neil Ferguson,
scientific advisor.
Yeah, and basically, how dare you? How could you possibly? And then, of course, it gets caught having had this massive sort of 17-person birthday bash in some pub. Including after hours illegally and receiving very light punishment for it, I would say. That was one of the biggest fails of the year. We go on.
Yes. Politicians being hypocritical? No, never.
I mean, they're journalists, but yeah.
Both the same these days.
I'm going to say it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm. I do think another thing we need to talk about when it comes to like real kind of like some of my favorite fails has to be the Chaz. Like I don't think you could talk about failures of 2020 more than please grow.
You are now leaving America, and it's never been more apparent.
Look at our garden. Isn't it so good?
Is it so good? It's just a layer of compost over the concrete with a man dancing drunk with a stick.
You're literally, you expect this to last a month and you've planted a garden. You're not really going to grow much, are you? Let's be honest.
Is this the Chaz?
Yeah.
I love that fucking picture of just that one lowly single drooping plant with just the 4chan post. If only you knew how bad things really were.
There was a video of a guy absolutely high as a kite, dancing around it barefoot, crushing all the other plants, and I love that.
He's trying to do a rain dance, mate. He's a cultural appropriation.
Evidently.
No, he got gulagged, Chaz-lagged.
I just love the fact that they tried to do their own version of like Mad Max, and it was absolutely shit. It was absolutely fucking terrible. Like it's just the funniest thing ever. Like the fact is, we don't need the police. We don't need this. We don't need that. As soon as anyone, like anything bad happened in the Chaz, everyone was like, "Help, police, please!"
Just walk through and get rid of
there's nowhere to plug in my iPhone.
Didn't like a gang leader literally just take over the Chaz like security after the second day or something like that?
It's peaceful. There is a party atmosphere. So why are you armed? Oh, that's just no reason.
So you're saying that the man with the gun ended up being in charge of everything in their utopia. Interesting.
That's why. Is it funny that your paradise that's designed to promote Black Lives Matter murdered more black people than the police in that area for the year?
Well, they also had a strict border too.
I love that. I love anarchists.
A wrecked border.
I love anarchists so much because see when they turn around and go, "We don't need a government." I'm like, okay, I'm coming to your village first. My bros are going to roll up in the Ford Raptor trucks. We're going to kill you, and we're going to take your women and children and enslave them. What are you going to do? Call the cops.
Have you heard of the phrase "rape and pillage"?
I was avoiding saying that.
Yeah, but
you're saying no words on my stream for seals.
Scotland has got a lot worse since 2016. I need to be very, very careful.
I know. You'll always have safe harbor down here.
Who would have ever thought that fucking Scotland would have got so bad that actual true Scottish nationalists would have got to the point of going, "England, please help."
Please. Now, England's not much better, to be fair. It's all the same laws.
Well, Ireland has lots of various kind of checkpoints between different counties, which my boyfriend is effectively trapped in Ireland at the moment, and it's really surreal kind of hearing about how you need to think of a good excuse to get through the checkpoint. It seems to mostly work for him. I think he said something about buying some horse medicine when he actually just went to pick up an Xbox Series S.
Are you sure he wasn't after ketamine?
Honestly, I wouldn't blame him after the way it sounds over there. They're shutting the pubs again. Again in Ireland of all places.
I'm telling you, it's the pubs, man. It's the most depressing thing going. But it's I heard that is this northern or southern?
He lives in Republic of Ireland. If that's what
Dank's in the waiting room, by the way.
Who's in the waiting room?
Dank.
Hey, Dank, drop for a second there.
Oh, bring him back.
There he is.
There you go. You've been revived.
You can't escape us now.
I meant to close a completely different window and accidentally close StreamYard.
You were aiming to close the Futanari, I understand.
You did what we refer to as a Sargon maneuver.
Yes, indeed.
But that's a 1 in a million.
One.
So there's quite a lot more super chats are coming through. At the moment, so far for the Cornish Seal Sanctuary, we have raised $220.
Hooray!
Hooray!
That's in less than an hour. That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Thank you all so much.
The seals won't be safe from Sue yet.
No, we need at least $500 to protect
the seals
them.
May
Level
make next
1
Christmas.
Sue.
So let me go through some of the many super chats that have been coming through. Architect of Fate with the $10. Please protect the seals from Sufulu. Dank is the thickest gay icon. Ubu Daddy Dank.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
And this is a guy who regularly donates to my stream. How dare you? How dare you debase yourself in this way? We will have words.
Funny face tape with the $3.99. Christian Reeves with $50. Thank you so much. Alexander Solzhenitsyn.
Solzhenitsyn.
Yeah,
Solzhenitsyn.
The Gulag Archipelago guy.
Yeah.
Oh, him.
Haven't you read Solzhenitsyn? Don't you know about the dragon?
You gotta save your father from the underworld.
These are the worst impressions I have ever heard.
I didn't even know what these impressions are meant to be.
Can you do a Kermit
Jordan
impression? That's the
Peterson.
question.
It's John Peterson, but
Oh.
Joseph
But
Stalin
terrible.
used to hire psychics to get everybody to think about gay stuff.
we need the deep fake. We need the deep fake Jordan Peterson bot back.
I've missed him. I like that fucking video that someone it was like a YouTube poop that someone edited, and he's like, "Why don't I set my army of trolls on you? Wouldn't that be fun?" What the fuck out?
Yes, I love that one. And I also love the one where he's arguing with himself. And he's like,
Joe
"You're a little
Rogan.
boy.
So-
You can't do anything." I know.
That has been edited so well. That's one of the best ones that's been made.
An important question has come up, Rose. Chrome
Yes.
Minion in chat says, "Does the money go right to the seals so they can buy beer and smokes and stuff?"
No, this is not seal welfare. Like, this is going towards programs that will help rehabilitate seals into the wild.
So it's not going to like Chantel the seal and her 8 pups to different
No,
fathers.
it's not going to the seal welfare.
Well, she just bangs just hoovers a great big line off a rock.
Those seals are always smashing up the local offie.
The North Sea ghetto.
Fucking Tories, arf arf.
We
Jesus
both were.
Christ.
I gotta go to Sea Centre Plus.
Going back to Solzhenitsyn's Australian $10, batten down the hatches, bar the door. It is the dawn of the last day, and she comes in, but for a few scant hours. I can already hear her voice carried on in the wind. I hear it, Padoru.
What?
Fair enough.
I mean, that sounded wholesome.
I don't know what Padoru is.
Padoru.
It's some anime things, are not.
Like, I've seen this thing. There's loads of people, like mostly traps, right? Have this little thing, like this little kind of anime character thing. I think it's called Padoru, but I don't actually know who she is, where it's from. It just seems to be a trap thing, like trap culture. I don't quite get it.
The thing is, I don't get it either. So I don't know. If this
Imagine assuming that traps have culture.
It's more
You're supposed to come back on that one, Trump.
Charity Rivers at the $4.99. Merry Christmas, everyone. My favorite fail of the year has to be the dying plant inside the Chaz. Poor thing never stood a chance. And there is the plant on the screen if you complete with the 4chan quote. DRT is king, $5. Merry Christmas. My limeys, when will NSO and AA get Sargon and Britisher to debate why the Byzantines were Roman and the effectiveness of HRE propaganda?
Never, because that's
really,
gay.
is that real? No, of course that's not real.
I thought it may have
Do you know
been
what?
real. Right, so Sargon is that much of a fucking boomer.
He really wants to do some history retrospective streams on Lotus Eaters. So the only thing that's keeping that from happening at the moment is the Britishers' dogged sort of desire for anonymity, and long may it continue.
I just thoroughly enjoyed that in the middle of a fucking Sargon event, Scrump just defiantly stood up in the middle of the crowd and went, "Why did we pay £30 to listen to you talk about Gilgamesh?"
I have never seen a crowd get behind someone and then turn on somebody so quickly during that event.
You scammed me. You scammed me that night as well. No, Scrump turned up with fucking Jess. And if you went like, "Oh, right, we don't worry, we bought our tickets, it's just my phone's dead and I can't get the barcode from my emails." So I turned her into the promoters and did my whole, "Don't worry, they're with me." And brought them in. And then when someone went like, "You paid for the ticket," you then, in the middle of the crowd, shouted out, "I lied, I didn't buy a ticket."
No,
In our defense, Marcus, we were incredibly drunk and
We
have
was
been
so
drinking.
drunk.
Yeah.
We have been drinking steins.
Scrump in
Although
particular.
that was the day where I turned up with a friend of mine and said, "Oh, come along to this political event. It'll actually be interesting." And it was just Sarkon talking about Gilgamesh.
I'm so glad I didn't fucking pay for that.
And we've been drinking since 7:30 that morning because the Six Nations final had been on that morning. We'd had a liquid day.
That was the rugby cup final, wasn't it? World Cup.
World Cup final.
Yeah, sorry, that one.
Yeah.
World Cup.
What was that? England. God, what's the other? Who was it? Who the guys won it?
I don't know, but we lost.
Yeah, New Zealand. No, South Africa. Fuck it, that's the one. South Africa.
Well, the thing that happened was, I was like, because I was asked the question, I was like, song, how do you justify charging 20 quid to ramble on about the Epic of Gilgamesh? Whole crowd cheers. Yeah. And it's like, well, you paid for it. I'm like, I didn't pay for shit. Whole crowd boos.
You just went bloody egalitarians.
The amount of places I blagged my way into, though. It's you see, the real deep lore is I actually had bought a ticket. I just wanted to wind people up.
You, Scrump, wind people up? That's very unlike you.
Oh dear.
So back to the super chats. Jesus Fried Christ was $6.99 Canadian. When your bones start to ache and your joints feel tight, head on down to Kiki Farms and we'll set you right. Proud sponsor of Seal of Approval. # Cabal prevails.
Use the memes up in here.
Sleepy Gremlin with the £5. Hey Dank, when your daughter is born, can you mate your daughters a TERF to complete the trilogy? You can ask her, do you want to gas J.K. Rowling?
Sue has already pre-warned me against anything like that. So, they basically no trying to, instead of having baby's first word, having her first 14 words or anything, So I have been warned.
It's not really about her first 14 words as much as her first 88 syllables. I'm so sorry.
Because you've been warned,
I am not a racist.
It's definitely going to happen then.
Possibly.
Jonathan Railton with the $1.99. What are your guys' favorite flavor of crayons?
Mayonnaise.
Sue was in the chat, by the way, and she just said, I don't want social services contacted. That's all.
We love you, Sue. We're so sorry. Don't club any seals in revenge.
That's just reminded me of that Mayola meme about the mayonnaise flavored crayons to stop people eating them.
Oh. Horrid.
Oh god damn it. So proper horror show who's going to be on in a little bit with their £5. Seal the world, make it a better place spelt like the fish for you and me, and look at their face. By the way, fail of the year, academic agents kitchen and shopping hall.
Oh, it was awful.
It was he basically said that he had done the biggest shop of his entire life, and it filled one kitchen side.
It was fairly dire. I'd done bigger ones when I was a student.
Dire. It was quite expensive because it was in large part the Charlie Bigham's ready meals and stuff like that.
M&S
for people who don't know, this is a posh ready meal for one person, serves one person, and costs £7.50 a pot.
Terrible.
And he just had a load of them.
All right, let me bring up.
Yeah, I thought I was fancy getting the special stuff from Aldi for £3.
Okay, M&S ready meal is the best one.
Have you found it? Yeah, look at
here. It is. Right,
weak ass shop.
So let's judge it. Let's judge what he got. So he's got a Charlton Heston Christmas pudding, I think.
This week on Hoarders.
The man who had too many sprouts.
Yes, one sprout is too many sprouts.
I thought it was like a side when it was in bags, but it's not even in bags. That's a side unbagged.
So what else has he got?
Prawn
Who's got-
cocktail Pringles. Ugh.
No,
Yeah.
that get them in the bin. Prawn cocktail Pringles are literally the worst ones.
It
Yeah.
is the
The
worst
barbecue ones are
flavour.
the best, but like the
Even worse than those weird rice infusion ones.
Oh yeah, they're crap.
The Texas barbecue are by far the best.
I would say I'm happy with salt and vinegar. Although the best Pringles ever were the cinnamon ones. Cinnamon ones. Yes, they were basically like churros, but like they tasted just like churros, but it was a Pringle.
If I am buying Pringles, I'm not buying them for
Do you guys
sweet
remember the turkey and stuffing Walker's crisps
Yes.
when they used to be about? They were really nice.
Chat is very angry at our take on prawn cocktail.
Yeah, I like other prawn cocktails, but I think prawn cocktail Pringles specifically are quite disgusting.
Skips are good. That's the best prawn cocktail crisp. It's
Yeah,
Skip.
skips are nice. Like prawn cocktail Pringles, I've had them. They're not nice.
Yeah, agree.
Well, skips are good. I like
Meh.
Skips.
Meh.
Yes.
So anyway, we got another guest on. Louis, how are you?
I'm all right.
We're currently judging academics' agent shopping.
Well, we do have to ask the obligatory question. Rose,
Yes.
you have to ask him the obligatory question.
Oh, sorry. You're getting on about that. Oh shit! Yeah, this is my show. Louis, so Louis,
Our show. No.
Sorry, it is our show. It is a joint effort between me and Scrump. And Scrump, I apologize for erasing me from the show.
Our show. No, go on. Ask you the question.
So Louis, one of the things that we're talking about this year, because 2020 has been pretty rubbish, but we want to know what everyone's kind of biggest or best or favorite fail of the year. So it could be, something which has been fucked up in your life, or it might be something that's happened in the world. Like, what is your favorite bad thing to have happened this year?
Well, I would say there's plenty to go around in that regard, even in my own personal life. But I would say that the worst thing that happened this year is pretty much American democracy dying. And we're basically a plutocracy with the veneer of a democracy or a republic on it.
Well, that was incredibly depressing.
I'm sorry.
It's supposed to be funny, Louis.
I guess the joke is that the guy we got in is like a demented puppet for China. I guess that's the joke.
So we've gone from like
pressure.
The stunned silence.
We've gone from
Everybody
jar of cum to American democracy.
You had to bring that.
You don't realise, Louis.
I am excited for the Bidenisms, though. Like, see how Bush had these Bushisms? Like, the question we have to ask ourselves is our children learning? Like
I don't know.
Bushisms-
See,
I answer to a higher power.
the problem with the Bushism.
I'm excited with Bidenisms, though.
I don't think it's going to happen that way. I think that the reason why people remember the Bushisms is because like popular culture made that into a big deal, and the opposite is going to occur this time. That the entire media apparatus, including a lot of people on YouTube, like what are now called influencers, who are arguably independent, they're not going to do that with Biden. So I think that the next 4 years is going to be incredibly sterile, but also probably really bad because we're systematically all going to get banned off of the internet.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yeah.
Local man who thought he'd lost all hope finds additional bit of hope he didn't know he still had and lost it.
No, there are things that are, heading in the right direction, but it's just that, unfortunately, at least in the context of the United States, we've taken there was two turns that we could have made, but we basically took the worst one possible. Or we took the worst of the two, but in the worst way possible, in that what needed to happen was the election needed to be addressed at the Supreme Court or by a court in order to deal with the fact that from here on onward, we could just have every single election be phony ballots all across the country. In every election,
because it doesn't hurt the states around them.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, is that the Supreme Court just punted on it based on a technicality, when in the past they've outright ignored that. They've outright
I think you'll find, Louis, that it's a technicality called standing.
Yeah,
and that's important. NPC file 265.exe.
Yeah. Unfortunately, though, it's just a matter of if it were just that, it would be a matter of what the court could do is say this is a technical problem, kick it back to the people that filed it and say you need to find a new subject and offer recommendations. But they didn't do that. They just kicked it back. And so, in essence, it's likely going to be that case happening at the Supreme Court is pretty much the same chances that we're going to hear something from the FBI about Epstein, or we're going to hear from the FBI or anyone else about the Las Vegas shooting. It's just one of those things that occurred, which everyone, the powers that be hope just goes away. But the problem is that I think this time we've kind of crossed a line. And I think that the Democrats that participated in this conspiracy have basically gotten a taste of true corruption, not just whatever happened in Las Vegas or whatever happened to Epstein or whatever else. We've kind of crossed the line into territory where it's in 5 states, including one that involved Republicans. The entire Republican Party must have been involved in this. That a lot of indiscretions happened, a lot of errors happened, and it flipped an election, a national election. And right now they're basically trying to hold on to the skin of their teeth of the Senate in the same state where this occurred, with the active conspiring of the Republican Party itself.
I don't know. What are you doing for Christmas then, Louis? What's your Christmas plans on a slightly happier note?
I'm going to spend time with my parents in our continuous, awkward, dysfunctional relationship.
Oh, I thought this was going to become less depressing.
A normal Christmas then.
Yeah, well, at the very least, you don't have the government telling you that you absolutely cannot travel for Christmas. I mean, it's one benefit of being an American.
No, I think that they would like to do that in this country, but I think that they're really one of the positive things is that based on a few different factors, when the vaccine starts rolling out on I'll say a commercial basis where it's available to the public, it's supposed to start happening in February. I think that a lot of people are just going to start ignoring a lot of the COVID restrictions. And the question is going to be what wins in the end? Is it the corporate interests and the moneyed interests basically paying off everybody, saying, shut the fuck up, we're done with this? And then the news media, and I say this to pretty much everyone I've talked to about the COVID thing, that all that needs to happen is one day the media, in unison, as they always do with everything, snap and they say, it's now safe, and this whole thing's over. Yeah. That no matter what the politicians want to do or anything else, no matter what King Cuomo wants to do in New York, it's over that day that the media says that it's over, that it's safe.
What are restrictions looking like in Scotland then, since you got 2 Scottish people on? Because I've heard varying things. I've heard they basically tried to close the border again.
Well, the way that they do it up here is anytime Boris does anything, anything fucking at all, Nicola Sturgeon goes, well, we're going to do that, but better. Right? It's just every single time, and it's Boris is yes, Christmas is cancelled, we're going into lockdown, blah, 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 blah. But Nicola Sturgeon goes, oh yeah, well, we're going to cancel 5 Christmases. Take that, Tories.
It's just a political dick measuring contest, though. That's all it's become.
It is basically Nicola Sturgeon's a cunt. I'm sorry, she's just She's just so
terrible.
fucking shit. Like people have literally had their fucking lives and everything fucking destroyed
Yeah.
by this fucking lockdown, and then she get caught at a fucking funeral with her mask off and shit. And it's just, I hate her. I hate her so much. They're trying to bring in that fucking hate crime law where you're going to get 7 years in jail for posting for just possessing spicy memes on your computer.
So
So what would happen if you happen to not possess spicy memes on your computer, but fall into a certain brigade-shaped Discord server that may contain spicy memes?
Well, yes, you see, I don't know. I've probably got about 30 life sentences in that server alone. if I'm being perfectly honest.
Shall not protect you.
You would literally
No,
be
it
jailed
shall
for
not.
crimes.
I was just about to ask though. You know that ruling this week about the right to offend? Does that count?
Yeah.
Does that count in Scotland?
No, because Scotland has devolved powers and all that business. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
We've always had our own legal system up here, though.
Yeah, because it counts in Wales. Because I think we're still within the English legal system. So, but I was wondering about Scotland. That's all.
Well, I remember the stuff in Wales about them like cordoning off parts of supermarkets still.
Yes,
Yeah,
they're still doing that. They're still doing it now. Just like 3 days before Christmas. I think they started doing it literally on Sunday.
Rose, clothes have been deemed essential now.
Yeah, but toys.
Yeah, I know exactly. So
Like, just toys, like you know,
Toys
like
aren't essential at
well, that's
Christmas.
it. Like if you haven't like done your your Christmas shop, then your kids are just going to basically get.
Are you saying that if I went to Tesco, like I could get arrested for buying like Pokemon cards at Tesco because it's
Yes.
not
it's
essential?
not
You wouldn't,
essential.
you wouldn't even be able to get in the aisle. They block it off.
Yeah, they put up displays around it. They wrap it up with plastic.
I doubt they'd arrest you. The store just wouldn't sell you it.
Illegal
Yeah, there's
Pokemon cards.
See, in Wales, right, we're being advised by Gordon Brown, who is, as anyone here would know, is just dreadful. Just the worst person you could think of to help run a country.
Tony
And so,
Blair.
there's one more. but like literally, those two are the top of the worst, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, the stack at the top, and also our first minister is a teetotaler, born again Christian, which is just amazing because he wants to ban all. He wanted the. There was rumors that he was going to ban all sales of alcohol.
But like, if he did that, do you actually think that the people in Wales would kick off about it?
Oh yeah,
But the thing is that I say that because with the the restrictions on what is considered an essential item, or that bars and restaurants and pubs aren't allowed to even serve alcohol anymore.
Stupid.
Like people complain. They'll go online and they'll complain. But other than that, what action are people actually taking? Because to me, it gives the impression that it's just a little bit of a moan, and then it's like, what can you do about it?
The problem is nobody knows where they are because it's the Welsh Assembly, and nobody cares to give a damn about it before all this kicked off.
Are you saying
that's
that people
a bit
would Guy Fawkes the Welsh Assembly, but they don't know where it is?
Yeah, exactly.
It's accurate at least because I think a lot of Welsh people probably didn't even understand that the Welsh Assembly was a thing before COVID.
No, they didn't, and now it's suddenly abolish is becoming quite big again.
Yeah, now all of it, like everyone knows Mark Drakeford's name. Like I've never even known a single Welsh First Minister in my life.
Oh, there's Carwyn Jones was the only other one. Well, you got to remember, Wales has only had 20 years of Labour.
Unfortunately, folks, I'm gonna have to dip out here, but it's been a pleasure to be on the Christmas special this year.
Oh, thank you.
For coming.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. And as not so obvious leaves us, we are joined by a hurrying Gladive. So it's a good trade.
Oi!
Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
Profitable.
I'd say that's a straight upgrade.
It's like trading a Mew Shiny for like a Charizard.
Bye.
Well, thank you so much for joining. Have a lovely Christmas.
Take care, folks.
Merry Christmas, Mark.
And hello, Harian.
Good day.
I know you've been sitting there for a while now, but I might as well notice you. So,
Yeah,
so
I didn't
the
wanna-
spotlight's on you.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt while we were bitching about Wales because it is a terrible country.
Coming from a guy who's known as Taffy.
He's
That's
a
not my
man.
fault. Well, it is
So-
because I chose a stupid name. Go on.
So how is Christmas at the Gladives this year?
Well, the plan's pretty normal. We're in tier 3. I am sure we're breaking rules, but none of us really care at this point. So whole close family should be around. It's going to be social distances in case the laws listening in.
So how are you going to social distance?
Well, we're not, but the law's not supposed to know that.
For legal reasons, yes, you are.
Yes, exactly.
So one of the things I've been asking all the guests this year is, this year's been fairly rubbish, and there hasn't really been all that much in the way of good news, but it's been a spectacular year for kind of bad news. And so I was wondering if you would like to share with us what your fail of the year is. It could be a fail in your personal life. It could be a fail in the world of politics or gaming or cinema or whatever. Like, what would you think is like just the most hilariously dumb thing to happen this year?
Don't say becoming a regular on my stream.
No, because that is a great thing. I raise up that show. I'd probably say it's not necessarily personal because I'm actually enjoying it a lot, but it's probably the launch of Cyberpunk 2077 because it's just been abysmal from everyone's experience, but mine it feels.
Oh no, the glorious PC Master Race has been doing pretty well out of there.
Exactly, yeah.
I've got to say, I've been playing it on the Series X, and I've had like quite a few bugs. I've had T-poses and like police appearing out of nowhere. A few times, like I'll try and jump through a window and then I'm sent like halfway across the map.
The problem with police is that that's not actually a bug. That's the mechanic in the game.
Yeah, that's
really?
is the worst part of that game.
They haven't exactly implemented things very well in some regards.
Yeah, some of the perks don't work as well.
Yes.
The worst thing I've had, I know, Louis, you were on about the healing ones during combat. They still don't seem to work. But also knife throwing. You get a perk where you can throw a knife, can't pick it back up. What? That's like my favorite thing in games. And
wow.
Like I've not given the knife throwing a try. Is that actually any good?
No, don't get it. It's not worth it. You literally may as well just just shoot people.
Like, despite like all the bugs and everything, I would still probably say it's my favorite game of the year.
Yeah,
you know what's hilarious is that I agree with that, and it's just because like so many games have been bad recently.
Especially AAA games.
Gaming is just awful right now.
Like, I will say I was like one of its biggest fanboys because I've said for fucking years, like if there ever comes out like a Skyrim-esque game but it's Cyberpunk, you'll never fucking hear from me again. And like, even if you remove all the bugs, I mean, it's okay. Like,
I would say
I've enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. Like, I've had fun and stuff like that. It's just that, like, obviously the story mode isn't really that long, but the missions in the story mode are fucking excellent.
Yeah,
they're really good. Like, but it's just, I don't know. Like, see how the fact is, I thought you could buy houses, and you could do all this, and it's like, oh, you can sleep with people. Is it you can sleep with 4 people?
And you can only sleep with them at certain times as well.
There's also mechanics they didn't actually ship with that they said were in the game. So
like wall running and all that.
No, that's not the only one. I'm talking about like the mini games they were talking about, none of which are in the game.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of stuff that they didn't even say they cut off. They just shipped the game and then they just weren't there. So
I think the main problem there was that they are effectively developing for 7 platforms because of the way that the consoles have been segmented. Because it's got to work on the Xbox One, the Xbox One X, the Xbox Series X, the PS4, the PS4 Pro, the PS5.
This has to be of the long development cycle.
Yeah.
This game is easily the most demanding game that I've ever played in my life in terms of hardware. Like, it is the most demanding game I've ever played. My system is not even that old, and I'm playing it on I'm barely playing it on medium settings. I don't understand how in the world they thought they were going to get this game to work on last generation platforms. They must have been out of their minds to think that this was ever going to work.
The thing that blows my mind, though, is apparently on the quote-unquote next-gen consoles, it runs in, like, PS4 and Xbox One compatibility mode, apparently.
Yes, it does. So at the moment, the Series X and the PS5 version hasn't been released. So the version which you play is this is the last-gen version. But because the Series X just generally loads things really fast, you're effectively running the Xbox One X version of it, which seems to be the best console version at the moment. But, you know, it's still, like, it doesn't feel like proper epically next gen or anything like that just yet. Like, the graphics do kind of feel a bit flat. Like, I'm looking forward to the actual proper next gen update. And I say that is my favorite game of the year, I don't mean it's, you know, this is like an incredible game that's going to be, you know, like remembered for decades, and it changes open world games as we know. It's like, I don't think it does. Like, I don't think it really changes things up at all. But I never bought into the massive hype machine that this had. I only got interested in it about 2 weeks before I played it. So, like, if it's missing all of these features, I genuinely don't know that those features exist. So it doesn't bother me. But if you
There really haven't been many games. Like, beginning of the game, we had Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing. We had The Last of Us 2, which was hilariously bad.
Crash Bandicoot 4.
I should have said Last of Us 2.
Crash 4 was pretty good, yeah.
Last of Us 2 does have a seal.
It does. It does have a seal. At least it has that.
Any games I actually played this year that came out this year?
I mean, the Final Fantasy VII remake was a bit of a bust.
Mountain Blade and CK3. Those 2 games.
Paper Mario. That was fun.
Warband is still not exactly particularly playable in many ways.
But Bannerlord, do you mean?
Yeah, that's what I meant, Bannerlord.
I love Bannerlord just purely for the fact that I can team kill Sargon whenever I want.
I always say that
stop killing my fucking horse, God.
The biggest problem
he's sitting riding into battle and he's like, why is there a giant spear in my horse's neck? And I'm like, I don't know.
It was the filthy Scotsman.
It was like that when I got here, man. Chill.
You bought a used horse.
The rollout really wasn't that bad for Bannerlord. It had its fair share of problems in the single player, including the first not working.
Years. 10 years though in development.
Yeah, I know, but it's supposedly like a small part-time studio or whatever, and that's unfortunately what you get with. And I gotta say that's currently how CD Projekt Red is operating, is a part-time studio. Now that they roll out this significant game and there's all this shit wrong with it, it's like, we got some hot fixes here and there that don't really fix a whole lot.
It made my version run slower after 1.0.5.
Yeah, I'm having problems too.
Which I was amazed at.
I think this year I just played Skyrim again.
Still never played that.
More modded than ever.
What else has there been? It's been Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which was very mediocre.
Look, you can't make Alfred the Great the bad guy. How can you do that? It's terrible.
I know, right?
There was Watch Dogs Legion, which is not going to make my.
It came out.
Watch Dogs Legion removed so much fucking stuff, and it was shit. And the thing that got me is you see the fact that they fucking randomize, like, each character is created with a dice roll, like their face, their hairstyle, all of this stuff, right? And one of the funniest things was one of the characters I came across was this little, small, really old Indian man, and he's like, "What are you, governor? You want to overthrow the government? Yeah, bruv." and the best one I got was this like really overweight black woman with dreads with like an Irish accent, and it's like I did not expect to do this mission. Expect like talking to a black woman with dreads, and it sounds like any second she's about to bust into come out ye black and tans. Like, honestly, it was just fucking unreal.
This is the future the globalists want.
Yeah, it's the future the globalists want.
I didn't bother playing that game. It did look absolute wank. It was like the whole Anonymous meme turned it to 11, but with a whole bunch of other bullshit in it.
Yeah, the story itself actually is probably. It surprised me to the degree that it took itself seriously, which I wanted. But the problem is that the story itself, if you look at it on any level, there's like 4 parts of it, and I don't really need to get into it. There's like 4 parts of the story that basically lead into what it is. And the last segment is fascism, and it makes no sense on its face. And that is what weighs down every other aspect of the game, where it's like you have these 3 prior things of the whole basis of the setting and the story that make total sense and they work and they're interesting. But that last one of fascism makes absolutely no sense.
The thing that was funny, I made tweets about this where I said that they completely undermined their own message. They were basically going to go Brexit bad, right wing bad. But then you actually start to analyze the story, and it turned out that left-wing, like liberal people, were made to feel so afraid that they willingly handed their power over to the government, and that's when I'm kind of like, so you were the problem.
Not even like it's even worse than that. It's even worse than that. Like it's basically like the whole basis of the game, and I don't want to spoil anything, but it's like the Alex Jones kind of like what he believes basically Alex Jones, like what he believes to be in charge, or even Cyberpunk, like what happens in America in Cyberpunk. That's what happens in the UK in Watch Dogs, which is basically, I'll just say, a deep state conspiracy where they win. And it's like, yeah, the left wing doesn't have any answer to that. It's only the right wing that is suspicious of that.
Yeah.
And so the game, but the problem is with that game and every other game that's made by Ubisoft is that it's all these French leftists that make it.
Yeah.
And they can have the first 3 steps. They have the first 3 things that all make sense. But the problem is that they can never cross that line of blaming anyone but the right, or demonizing anyone but the right, or criticizing anybody but the right. And
I just thoroughly enjoyed the fact that they were like, we handed all of our power over to the government, and then the government became fascist, and then they were like, fucking right wingers. It's like, but you literally said in the story that it was you. It was you that did it. This is the exact shit we're warning you about. Don't give the government too much power. They literally like handed the government power on a silver platter, and then they're like, fucking Brexit.
This is why we need more government, guys. This is why we need the government to crack down on people more.
It's like that Eric Andre meme where he fucking unloads the clip into the guy and goes, "Why would the right wing do this?"
Yeah, who killed Hannibal?
Another member of the conspiracy of the game of the deep state is a literal psychopathic tech oligarch. That is one of the members of the conspiracy in the game. Is a psychopathic tech oligarch, and it's like again. Which side is the only side complaining about tech oligarchs? Let me switch on Fox News. Tucker Carlson's playing. Who's the only side complaining? It's like, again, it's like the first 3 steps of the narrative of that game makes sense, but it's like, again, like the only way that this game would have made sense is if it was basically fascists masquerading as liberals. Like, we're the liberal lefty, like oligarchs and tyrants and that, and we're trying to do this and that, and it's like the only way for this, and like London, as far as I know, it's the most left-wing part of the UK, or at least
it is.
I'll call it, Liverpool maybe a bit more.
Next to Edinburgh.
The issue is in the game, it's like you're telling me that the people of London would actively not only like elect a prime minister who would do this, but themselves support an outright nationalist and like quasi ethno-statist political like faction and corporation, like an actively partisan corporation. Like that's what they would bring into power. They would actively support bringing into power in the most left-wing city in the whole fucking country. Like it's so ridiculous. And that's what I mean. Like, you could have had it where it was a right-wing corporation, like a paramilitary organization, but it's masquerading. So you have a left-wing spokesman who is, very temperate and appeals to left-wing politics and that sort of thing. And so there's this big facade of left-wing politics. But the problem is Now you're actively critiquing what is going on in real life. Now you're actively critiquing what is going on in real life, and that's your side.
My main problem with Ubisoft games is they always make the same fucking game in terms of core systems over and over again with a slightly different spin on
They
it.
call it the UB box.
Yeah, it's the fucking UB box.
And it's what every game's go into. It's terrible.
I've forgotten. We did get Fall Guys this year though as well, which is pretty good.
I did really enjoy Fall Guys. Like no one's like I keep on hearing like the game's been abandoned, but as far as I'm concerned, it's still going fairly strong from the looks of things.
Yeah,
I'm just waiting for it to come out on Xbox really.
Because good wholesome fun apart from the games journalists.
Yeah. I'm like, God, don't remind me.
Among Us got big for about 3 weeks as well. That was fun.
Another game that I could speak to that I was actually surprised by but disappointed in the end was Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. I bought that game, and I was like, it's not that long of a campaign, surprise, surprise, but I was thoroughly enjoying it up until like it just ends out of nowhere. And I was like, oh no, like I was so disappointed in the end. I was so disappointed because
a Call of Duty game having a truncated campaign, that'll never happen. That never happens.
Well, Black Ops 1 actually had a really great campaign.
Black Ops 1.
I did however, thoroughly enjoy how extremely mad everyone got at the fact that the trailer was completely centered around fucking Bezmenov. I fucking love that. And it's just these leftists, these political prostitutes, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, how could you have him?" And then everyone just came out like, "But he's correct, LMAO."
I think one of my favorite things about a new Call of Duty is that in the age of Ronald Reagan, you could have your non-binary war criminal. That is considered more progressive.
More trans drone pilots.
I have an inside source at Activision who I haven't spoken to in a while, but he's basically given me like the an inside view of like what goes on at Activision, especially at Call of Duty, because he knows like all the devs from that particular studio that work on those games. And it's basically the basis of the game is created, and all the shit like the pronoun stuff and like you could tell it's not implemented very well in the game. But like the whole like they or he or she and all like the bullshit they did with that with like designing your character, that is all of that is added at the last possible second, and it's forced into the game by the higher ups of the company.
Yeah, it's marketing. It's pure. Yeah. They think that this is where their money lies. So like, well, you have to have the pronouns in the game because it's current. Yeah.
Gotta get them sweet non-binary books.
The problem is too is that like the whole thing of like you being able to design your player character and is just a stand-in and you just play throughout the game. I actually thought that added to the game. I thought that was a plus to the game. Normally it's just you play some random character with a name and maybe you bounce around between characters. But I liked that the it actually gave an element to the game where it was more in depth, where there's an actual.
I never understood the gripe. I never understood everyone's like, and you can make a character that's like doesn't have a gender and all that, and it's kind of like, well, that's just a very in-depth character creator like that. I don't really care about that. Like that's the thing is, whenever you do like an RPG, you either create a character that looks like you, or you create a character that you wish you looked like, or if you're playing Dark Souls, you create the most fucking utterly nightmare fuel thing that you can fucking concoct. But like that's the thing that I didn't get. And also the fact is like Cyberpunk as well had a trans character, and they didn't make a big deal out of it. Like that basically she casually mentions her transition, but at the time of the conversation, you're not really focusing on that. You're focusing on the fact that this guy probably did kill her husband. And it's like that. I like that because even though it was casually mentioned in conversation, but it wasn't just this whole "I'm trans" and then trumpets start playing and fucking made it like
the most cringy thing. The most cringy thing about Claire in Cyberpunk is that she has the trans pride flag on her massive truck reveal. Yeah. Like that I think it doesn't even fit in with a character that much because she mentions her transition once at a very natural point in the conversation. And so it seems a bit strange that she's so casual about it then, and then on her van, on like a massive like it's almost kind of like it's a bit of a joke with like certain like older trans women. There seems to be a lot of like cross dressers who are truckers and that, and then you have like the trans character with a massive truck with a huge trans pride flag on the back. But that was like the only awkward thing about it, though. Otherwise, I think she was great.
That's like the thing in like the future. See, in 2077, like we genuinely by that point will reach the point where someone's like, "I'm trans," and everyone's going to go, "Whatever." Like,
yeah,
it's like no. But it's the case. I went for my like I reckon by 2077 it's going to be. I'm going to get my transition surgery, and surgeons are going to be like, "Oh shit, I'll give you sex tits if you want. We have the technology."
I think you'll find that Cyberpunk's actually very transphobic. So one poster.
One thing I loved about that.
I'm sorry, a fucking baller poster, but
like I love that poster. That poster is the most common advert in the whole game.
It is
like everywhere you go, it's plastered everywhere.
It's just help feel like advert. That's the thing. It's like I went on this rant previously on this show about the fact that they are complaining in a cyberpunk universe about someone being commoditized. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, it's hyper ultra capitalist. Like, see every single cyberpunk game, Blade Runner, everything in that ethos, everything is ANCAP. Like, there's not really such a thing as like countries and like congressmen and all that shit don't really have power anymore. It's like it's corporations that have the power, and it's like that's the standard thing. And it's a case of they're using sex and like our fucking like transition, blah, blah. They're using that as a selling point, and it's like yes. That's what happens. So like, there's a part in the game where they literally monetize a man's crucifixion. The government literally allows a man to crucify himself because it makes the corporations money.
I wonder if these guys understand what happens during Pride Month every year. Like,
I get really annoyed.
The whole, we're not going to do a rainbow thing, Skittles.
Pride Month happened and there was only 18 murders.
I know we recently, like Tailed Feature recently dropped out because he wanted to go to bed. So happy Christmas to Tailed Feature, but we trading Tailed Feature for my good friend Proper Horror Show. If Chloe is there.
Welcome to the stream.
What's up?
Hey, how are you? How is Christmas in the Horror Show household?
Oh man. It's all right here. It's pretty good. It's pretty darn good, I'd say. I'm feeling the hype.
How is Gatsby?
Oh, jeez. I really hoped I would have him like here, so I could just like prod him for comedy meows. But I think he's aware of my reindeer games, and he's not falling for that again.
So long-term viewers of my channel might remember Gatsby from my early videos. So Chloe is actually Gatsby's owner, and so that's where Gatsby lives nowadays.
Oh, the evil cat, or is that the evil cat?
The very, very angry, hate-filled cat.
I think owner is really misconstruing it, like I have any authority over that grumpy bugger. No, he is the boss.
When it comes to cats, they are not the pet. You are the pet.
So one of the things that I'm asking all the guests on the stream is basically 2020, as we all know, has been a terrible year. It's hasn't really been a lot in the way of good news. But what I want to hear from you is, what do you think like the worst? What's your favorite fail of the year? What's the biggest fail? It could be a fail in your personal life. It could be a fail that's happened in politics or in popular culture or anything like that.
Oh, geez, I was going to follow the herd. I was going to say that it was the old. Oh man, it was the wonderful joy after we elected a huge Conservative majority that then proceeded to pull down their trousers and tell us to get under the glass table. But I think people already got there. So yeah, I don't know. I would probably. I think for me, fail of the year is a more of a recurring joy than a particular event. It's every time I think I can have an honest chat with a leftist online. Every single time I fall for it.
And the interesting thing is like the fail is actually on you, because I've fallen for that as well. I remember when I first kind of got into the whole YouTube thing and joined Twitter, and I honestly at some point felt that I could have honest conversations with, your typical trans rights activists who would normally try and call me out if I'd point out something that had happened on their side, like, oh, this person had been sending death threats, or it said something like, really abhorrent. They would then respond by, oh, are you going to condemn this person? And then they would keep at it. It's like, oh, this person said this really horrible thing. You have to condemn it. Until they would get me to say, like, yeah, I think that's a really shitty thing to say. Now, will you condemn this person? And their response is always, lol, nope. And so it's like, yeah, you cannot have an honest conversation with them because they want you to capitulate fully. And anything less than that is they consider as bigotry.
I'm thinking of one particular incident. You probably know exactly which one I'm going to say, when we were talking about the wonderful world of the trans umbrella and how it lets all kinds of crazy people in who are not trans in any way, but they're counted as trans. And we made that statement, and can you believe how wrong we were? What idiots we are! Gosh. Oh, we're such idiots.
Just because they say that cross-dressers are trans doesn't mean that they think cross-dressers are trans. We need to consider that all these words have different meanings. There's always a very interesting and convenient hidden message to every argument like this. Like if it's like kill whitey doesn't mean kill whitey. It actually means kill whitey. But the context of that is different. Every single time, there's always a hidden narrative that's hidden away from you until you actually call them out completely. And it's kind of like a hidden deployment shield. Like, if you're in like a boss fight in a video game, and then all of a sudden there's like the super powerful second form where just everything changes. It's effectively
this isn't even my final form.
Yes.
Oh, you've lined up your special attack, and then suddenly you hear that, and suddenly nothing personal, kid.
Teleports behind you.
So we're having this conversation. We're saying like, hey, this trans umbrella thing seems a little cray. Seems like it's really like letting everyone in, and now no one knows what trans is. Yeah. And we're told, oh, that's stupid. No one actually says that. And you post this really infamous infographic. It's very well known. And people say, oh, no one uses that. So we go on the biggest LGBT charity websites, post the web pages where they are literally saying trans includes cross-dressers. And it's like, Stonewall's a bit of a fringe organization, just because they say that it can include cross-dressers doesn't mean that cross-dressers are trans. What an insane interpretation to take.
And then the take inevitably goes, oh, well, this is a you problem. Why do you care so much? Just let it be included. It's like, well, you were arguing that they weren't included before, and now all of a sudden you understand that it is, and now it doesn't matter. Like I always love that whole it's a you problem. So we don't need to talk about it anymore. You need to deal with it. It doesn't matter what the whole context of this is. You've got to deal with this now. I'm just going to go off. Accept my will as God.
And so every time I think it's a good idea to say, hold on there, friendo, there's a mistake here. I think we can have a good, honest dialogue backed up by facts and evidence. No, just stop me. That's a failure of the year every time I try and do it.
So we've had quite a lot of different super chats coming in, but before we do so, Dank, I think aren't you supposed to be doing your own Christmas stream in about 5 minutes?
They've not got back to me yet. And I'm pretty fucking drunk right now, so I don't really give a shit. But it's fine.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Well, their loss is our game.
Well, I'm currently arguing with Sophia on Twitter, basically telling her that she's now my legal property. That's how drunk I am.
She's a woman.
And I can do with my property whatever I so desire. Anyway, I've just TLDR. I just bought Sophia Narwitz with Bitcoin. It's fine.
Well, she's going to be coming on in the next couple of minutes. So.
No, she won't. I forbid it. As her now current legal guardian.
I gotta say,
male of the household, you forbid it.
There's a question for you. Did you file the proper paperwork with Chickasaw County?
Who gives a shit?
Rose, I was going to take this opportunity to bow out, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm going to head off. Okay. Thank you very much, Cam. It's been great.
No problem at all. Thank you.
And not welshing up the stream too much this time.
No, I dialed it down a little bit. I hope my thumbnail does well as well.
No star on the Dolly Clown.
Nadal Clown a blwyddyn newydd ET Gyd. Thank you very much. That's it to everyone.
Hwyl.
You must destroy the One Ring, Frodo.
You guys too, yeah.
Oh, crazy! Right, so a lot more super chats have come in. So apologies for letting these slide. So let's just go through them now. Namu Z with the 10 Canadian dollars. Shekels from Montreal. Best thing about 2020: every punk anarchist I know is pro lockdown and pro government handouts. I've become counterculture without even trying. That's actually true. Like, there's a guy that I know who is, he like claims to be like a libertarian. He's like real. Kind of like as like a real like punk goth metal aesthetic around him, but he's become like the biggest lockdown advocate I know. It's really strange how this weird flip has happened, where the people who were originally saying that Boris is the one who's going to be bringing in like a fascist state, and then now the ones applauding him and demanding that he brings in more fascism. Jacob,
I think there's a secret kink with leftists, by the way, and it was demonstrated just the other day. Did you see that Reddit post of it was a leftist, like, pronouns in bio, half her head shaved, basically saying, "I just want to get absolutely fucking decked down by a Republican." And I'm shit, man, right? And this is the thing, is they're always going on about oppression. I think they fucking like it.
Yes.
Have you seen the entire subculture of dyed-in-the-wool Democrat women who are incredibly attracted to Tucker Carlson? That is a real thing. There is a massive like leftist. I hate his politics, but I wish I wasn't so attracted to him. There's an entire subculture of Democrats who want Tucker Carlson to rail them.
It's like for example, I can give you a few examples of this. Like, I am someone. I'm in Scotland. I grew up with a Catholic background, right? Catholic schools and stuff like that, where women are taught that sex is evil. The only man in your life should be God, until a man marries you and stuff like that, right? Catholic women love dick, can't get enough of it. Like, it's honestly giving a Catholic woman dick is like giving a drowning man a glass of water. Like, honestly,
I will add, I also went to a Catholic school, and the amount of girls giving blowjobs in the religion department was off the scale.
Yeah, recite John 13 with this in your mouth, bitch. But
with John's 13 in it.
Doing the penance at the same time. Yeah,
I would joke about that if it weren't like I went to Catholic school when I was young, and then I transferred out to go to public school, and like every girl that I went to school with that stayed in Catholic school, that went to like Catholic high school, and that they all turned into like disgusting whores, and I legitimately look at them with pity. Like I can't make fun of them because I just feel bad. Like, I feel bad for them because it's like I don't know. I don't, like, obviously, your choices are your own. You get what you deserve in that regard, but I still feel sorry for the fact that, like, just in American society, maybe it's just true overall, but like we seem to chew women up and spit them out, and it's something I don't really like.
It's like that Hungarian politician. I think he was Hungarian. Like he was like very, very anti-LGBT. Not in the like, oh, the hormone blockers for children. Not that stuff. He was like Westboro Baptist Church, like against the LGBT. And then he got caught like fleeing an orgy with 25 other men by leaping out of a window.
Wasn't that the no condom orgy?
I can't remember. I don't know the exact story, but basically the police decided to raid an orgy for breaking lockdown rules and found this very prominent anti-LGBT politician leaping out of a fucking window to escape. Unfortunately, he's very famous, and they sort of went, "We know it's you. Like, we're just going to come to your house and arrest you. You can run all you want. We know who you are." And he just handed himself over to the police along with 25 other very, very homosexual men.
Some of those Westboro Baptist Church videos are great, though. There's a great one I always post at my Australian friend, which is Fred Phelps just going, "God hates Australia, home of the sodomite damned."
home of them gay kangaroos.
Oh, dear.
So we got some more guests. They've just joined us. Book Angel, and also Dank's property. Sophia, apparently.
No.
Apparently,
No.
apparently.
Sophia, you should have read the small print. That's not my problem. Take it up with my lawyer.
There was no small print. I won't fight you for this. Your femboys are mine.
No.
Yeah.
It's my property, and I shall do with my property whatever I so desire.
I want a boxing match with you. Winner gets the femboys.
Oh, there'll be a boxing match if you keep talking back.
Oh, dear.
God damn it!
Who told you were allowed to speak?
No.
Anyway, this is a charity stream.
Wait.
This is a charity stream for seals.
Dank, I dare you to hit a trans girl and see what happens.
Speaking of seals, some females in here better seal their fucking lips. I'm telling you.
Anyway, welcome Sophia, welcome Book. The Mad Stream, to the end of year extravaganza.
Yeah. So, Book, how is Christmas in the Book Angel household?
Oh, well, I don't really celebrate Christmas, to be honest with you.
What?
So, yeah, I don't. You know what? I always feel like I'm sort of forced into it. When I was a kid, it was about Christmas. Now it's about buying presents and about, sort of being forced into this space. And me, I don't like to be forced to do anything I don't want to do. So, yeah. But other than that, it's, it's the holiday season here. But it's COVID. So it's not really anything. It's just, it's kind of horrible. Actually, I'm in LA and we're on full on lockdown, so we can't even go anywhere.
Well, join the club.
Yeah, that's right.
Basically, the whole of the UK is slipping more and more into bloody lockdown.
Wow, it's so crazy. Yeah, it's really. But people here are not wearing their masks. People are not participating in maybe getting this thing over with. So that's kind of, I think, why we had to do it here. People are not participating in the mask wearing at all.
Also joining us is Sophia. So how are things with you?
They're going pretty good. It's been a good few months.
So both Book and Sophia, one of the things we've been asking our guests this evening is 2020 has been a terrible year.
I must have missed that. What happened? Fill me in.
But one of the things which we one of the things which we can focus on is that 2020 has had a lot of quite incredible fails. So I was wondering if both of you would be able to share with us what is your favorite fail of the year. It could be something which has happened in your personal life. It could be something which has happened, in the news, and it could be something which the government's done. So just to share a couple of examples which we've already had. We had we've had like the Conservative government in the UK, and we've also had a jar of cum. So
a what?
A jar of cum.
Oh,
yeah, that was Dank's IVF story.
Right.
Long story short, I came in a jar. Nobody was there at the reception to take my jar of cum, so I put it in my armpit to keep it warm. I went outside the hospital to have a cigarette, and I came back in, and the nurse got really mad at me and yelled at me.
Don't trust his eggnog.
There are a lot of things moving.
God. So Buck, why don't you go first? So what would you think is like your favorite fail of the year?
Well, I'm really gonna go to transgender children. Seems to be very much of I think we're failing children. And what I mean by that is I think there is this sort of agenda when it comes to this transitional thing, and that we know what's better, or some people think they know what's better for a child who states that I'm trans. And then giving children something that we do not, and this is again my opinion, what I believe, and what I think is really a failure, not only for children, but for the future of trans in itself. And I think when we start to medicalize, which is a huge step, I think hopefully probably most of your listeners are probably on board with what I'm saying. It is a huge step to medicalize, first off, anyone. But secondly, a child. I have a child. I have an 8-year-old child. So it's not like I'm just saying like I know children. I'm around them. I hang out with them. I'm the dad of all the kids of the neighborhood. So that being said, I do know children on some level. And I could tell you that I don't believe that a child 100% is totally secure in who they know they are.
But experts say that they do.
And those are
these experts,
right?
Experts, just don't ask who these experts are. Never ask who the experts are. Just men, top men.
It's shocking. It's shocking to me. Everything else can go over here. I don't give a shit about what's going on. Our community is just kind of a mess, but whatever. Come over here. More for me and my focus and my number one thing that really I believe is a biggest failure that I see is this medicalization of children. When I say children, I mean under 16 years old. I do not believe a 10-year-old or an 8-year-old should in any way, shape, or form be messing around with the natural function of their body.
And the thing is, just actually saying that now, makes you some sort of extremist. We're not even for. It isn't even a case of like, oh no, I disagree. It's that anyone who holds that position is now considered a bigot, and that is such a strange sentence to say. Like, you don't want to pump this. What? You don't want to pump this 10-year-old with hormones?
I know.
What kind of Neanderthal are you?
Do you know, Rose? Also, like these people are so ridiculous. This is an actual factual thing I'm going to tell you. If you give a child, let's say a male to female trans child, hormone blockers, you are now blocking the progress of their own body transitioning, which is what they want to do, right? But what about the penis? So the penis has to grow in order for you eventually to do the bottom surgery for a male to female. So if you are blocking hormones, you are blocking the growth of the penis, which will also block you able to actually give that child, the bottom surgery later on to make them normal. So you know what I mean? So they don't even know what they're talking about, because if you really want this child to be successful in their transition, you would want their penis to grow so that you can actually make the bottom surgery so that they can live a normal, quote, normal life. So you understand? It's like the whole thing is a total, shit show.
Really, you've seen like the child catcher. It feels a lot like that. It's a very creepy obsession with children. I think a lot of them have.
Yes. I don't know if I'd call it creepy, but it has baffled me that they've been really going so strongly for this. Guys, maybe we could get our heads together. Do you have any ideas why leftists would be so keen to prove that children can consent?
Oh, yeah. Let's not get into the whole
obviously it's so that they can vote Democrat. Jesus, where are your heads?
Oh, that's it. Yeah. Thanks, Arian.
All super chats for this stream are going to a seal charity.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Rose is desperately trying to maintain the wholesome here.
What really bugs me again is when parents announce that they're like 3-year-old toddlers trans and they draw them out like a fashion accessory as if that's how being trans even works.
That's right. And that's the other thing. Really, I see parents using their children, which is so disturbing. I would never put my child out there and say, oh, guess what? My child is trans. It feels so actually disgusting towards the child, because what if that child grows up, what if that child does not want you to do that? So then the child becomes 16 and 17 and you outed your child, and maybe their child doesn't want everybody to know they're trans. So
did you see that HBO documentary Transhood, where one of the moms is like bringing out her trans child to all the activism, all the marches, all that stuff, putting them in the camera, getting them photographed, and like the kid clearly doesn't want to do it. But the mom likes the attention of being like the activist mommy, and so she's just like using her child for all this media attention. It's disgusting.
And what I found particularly amazing with that is like the mom's reaction to the kid not wanting to be an activist. It's like she was saying, like, oh, I don't want to have a book coming out, and I don't want to do all these interviews. And then the mom's like, oh, well, you wanted to be an activist 2 years ago. That is pretty much. I mean, that's pretty much what she says. Like, you wanted to be this. So, like, let's say that kid decides actually they're not trans, and or it starts to question their own gender. Is there anyone who's actually confident that the mother would actually listen to the child at that point and think, yeah, maybe this wasn't the right thing to do? Is the mother profiting off this? Is there ulterior motives of just saying like, no, but you wanted this? Yeah, remember you were 80 years old and you said that you're a girl.
That's right.
Remember that. Okay, so what are we having for breakfast?
Wow. See if my 17 or 18-year-old child came up and said, like, Dad, I think I'm trans. Dad, I think I'm gay. I'll be like, okay, let's sit down. Let's have a chat. And I'm like, see if my 9-year-old came up and said, Dad, I think I'm trans. I'm like that. Like, you cannot come up to me and ask things like that right after asking me what is the best way to defeat the Elite Four in Pokemon Ruby. So you can't even fucking dress yourself yet and you want to go under the knife? Shut up, right? If you see when you're 17 and 18, come back and speak to me. Right. So that's when I know you've got more sense.
Yeah,
if we took 7 and 8-year-olds at their word, we'd have a lot more astronauts, I think.
That's excellent. That's excellent. So, I mean, we all, I pretty much think we all agree with this. I am just totally disgusted. I mean, I get attacked so much from this group of people who are so pro transitioning children that they just, so I say, well, why are you so mad at me? Because I have an opposite opinion. Like, let's have a discussion about it. If you can, I will actually give you the opportunity to change my mind. But they won't do that. They'll literally just, you're this, oh, Buck, I guess I have internalized transphobia, just so you all know. Just so you all know, I'm transphobic. So, I mean, it's just, this is what's detrimental to the future of us people. And they are going to ruin it. They are going to ruin so much for us. I guarantee you, eventually they're going to stop giving kids hormones. They're going to realize it's the hugest mistake they ever made. And it's all going to come back around. Like your NHS. The NHS just is not giving it out for this anymore.
Well, I've been very vocal about like the biggest enemy to my continued existence as a trans person are trans activists.
That's right.
In the foot endlessly, like even like the whole, it's now transphobic, quote unquote, to have genital preferences where if you don't date a chick with a dick, you're transphobic. It's the dumbest thing ever, and it's like that this constant outrage, this constant labeling everything transphobic that pushes the public away. Where like they're like, most people don't care if someone's trans, but when they're constantly being called bigots or transphobic or being screamed at over like the most minor of things, eventually people are just gonna be like, okay, fuck you, bye.
Well, Sophia, I think.
Well, hold up a minute. I want to read one of your comments here that someone just told me to shut up because kids should be taking hormones, and because I didn't, I shouldn't force kids to wait. I'm not forcing kids to wait at all.
Wait, did someone say that in the chat?
Yeah, they sure did. So so here's the deal. And let me speak to the person who's just told me to shut up. I won't shut up, number one, because I care. Number two, just because I didn't take hormones till late does not mean that I think all kids should be that way. I think it's a case-to-case basis. We cannot say all children are the same, and we cannot say all of us here in this room are the same. We are not. This is the problem with the trans movement now. They're putting us all in this same category. I am different than you, and you are different than me. You understand what I'm saying? So I needed to become a man. That is how I live my life. I had a total sex change. I live full-on male. I walk the world. Everything is male. I live in the cisgender world. I don't even live in the trans world. So that being said, wasn't that the whole point of me transitioning? Is because I wanted to be a man. So that's okay if that's not what you want to do. But what I want to do is different than, so we're not the same. My point being is we're not the same. Kids are not the same.
Yeah.
And you cannot say all kids who say they're trans are actually trans, because I won't believe that. I won't.
And with affirmative care, a lot of people are.
Yeah.
And thanks to affirmative care, a lot of people are being agreed with that they're trans because they're not questioning it.
Yeah, affirmation.
There are children and adults who may just be confused. And it's scary that we're seeing this huge rise of trans people because it doesn't fit any mathematical models whatsoever.
I don't think that you can, like, one of the biggest problems is that affirmation model. So I don't think you can really be having, transitioning young children whilst also affirming every single gender out there. And that's why affirmation is such a huge problem, because it's simply not questioning it at all. Like, you have gender GP in the UK that says that any questioning of someone's gender is some sort of conversion therapy.
And
so if your child, and so
doctors should be questioning it.
And so their position is nobody should ever question this. Also, let a 3-year-old transition if they wish.
Wow. Transitioning socially is badass. Transition socially. Do whatever you need to do socially.
I did that. A 3-year-old socially is a bit weird.
Yeah. Well, whatever. I mean, you know what I mean by if the little 3-year-old wants to say they're a boy or a girl, let them. Who cares? But when we start to say, no, you got to take hormones and you got to be specific, it literally goes against the whole idea of what trans is to me. It just goes against everything that we as humans and we as people who care about the future of trans people. It goes against everything I think that we are about, which is to create a space for people who don't feel a part of the world, whatever that is, gender-wise or whatever, however you need to do it. But when their agenda creates a space that starts to push on our space, that's when we have to start to speak up about this, because I'm different than you, and you're different than me. And how come we're not celebrating our differences in the community? We're not celebrating that.
Like that's the thing is it's a major decision, and it has to be an informed decision. So see if I come across someone that's like 17, 18 or above, and they say I don't feel like a man, I believe I am a woman, I'm like, absolutely 100% fair. Yep, absolutely. You are wary enough of the world at the age you are at. That is absolutely fine, not an issue whatsoever. That's fine. But see if someone's like 9 and they're like, yeah, I'm a woman, here's some puberty blockers. Hold on a fucking minute. Wait a minute. Wait now.
If your child comes up to you and tells you they think they're the other gender, just let them dress up at home. Let them play with the toys they want to at home. Like, that's not going to hurt anything. They can grow into it, discover if it's for them. But these are like, a kid can come out as trans, and like immediately the parents are going to rush into the doctor, and the doctor's going to go, oh, get them on the blockers as soon as you can. They need this. They need. It's like, no, let this child just grow. Like, as someone who I knew I was trans from a very, very young age, about 5 or 6. And it was a secret. It was a secret I kept very deep for most of my life. All I needed as a kid to be happy was if I could have just worn the clothes I wanted to wear and play with. I so desperately just wanted to play with my sister's toys. And like, that would have helped me so much. Like, I didn't need the meds as a kid. I just needed to be able to express myself, to be my authentic self. And if your child says they're trans, just let them act as they want to act.
That's right.
I've actually got 2 friends who, whenever we went out drinking, they would dress as a woman because, I'm just doing it ironically. It's just for fun. Not man. And then one day, and then one day they came up to me like, I need to tell you something. I was like, and I had to sit there acting shocked, like, my God, I had no idea. Well, congratulations.
What if I dress up as a woman?
None of us had any clue. Like, even that one night you sucked my dick, I had no idea.
Oh, dear.
So I do need to get back to the super chat. Gone on a massive tangent here. So Jacob with the $5. Hate seals, bunch of aquatic rats.
There's the man who punches seals.
Rose, speaking of seals, you and I still need to fight about the whole Assassin's Creed thing.
Rose is changing our mind on freedom of speech.
We found Sue's alt account.
This is supposed to be a wholesome stream where we talk about how lovely seals are. People are just like, I hate them.
They make fantastic coats.
It's a lot of blood, I have to say.
Of arms?
Mean.
Nice.
Here we go. Here's a better one. Magos Crixus, the $2. Seals for the seal gods.
Blubber for the blubber throne.
Jesus Fried Christ at the $2.79. There'll be a smooth transition to a second Trump admin.
Oh God.
Keep your eye.
I want to be smooth, but
Norwegian Viking with the 20 NOK. Dank PA Luty Mad Lad When.
Okay, I will admit that he is in the list.
Ooh.
if you don't know who Luty is, he's the guy who made a homemade machine gun in the UK out of just normal workshop parts. Then the absolute brass balls on him published a book about it.
The amount of fucking mad lads that I get are brilliant. Like, see, you get standard people that are just pretty boring. Oh, he was a dictator and he killed 1,000 people. Yeah, well, what dictator hasn't? But then you hear stuff like he was a dictator that had 50 wives and he couldn't remember their names, so instead he just numbered them. I'm like, okay, now I'm interested. That's for example, there's another guy who was an American POW. And he was basically in a POW camp in Germany during World War II. He tried to climb the barbed wire fence, but instead fell down the gap in the middle and get trapped in all the barbed wire. And the Nazis came up to him get out of there, and he went, no. And they were like, get out. And they couldn't go in and get him without getting tangled themselves. And they were like, get out of the barbed wire. And he just sparked up a cigarette and went, make me. No, man, and apparently he stayed in there for 3 days before he had to pee. So that's when he found. Yeah, I'm sorry, it wasn't pee, it was shit. He was happy to piss himself, but when he actually really needed to shit, he went, okay, fine, I'll come out.
Jedi Knight Anna Quinn Cringewalker with the $5. Without Trump, who becomes the hate for the news?
White men.
The
white man.
The white man. No, you're totally right. It's the white man.
Jedi Knight Anna Quinn Cringewalker again with the $5. Technically speaking, under UK knife law, wouldn't it be legal to throw a knife but not to pick it up?
That's a cyberpunk joke there, for those who missed that.
DRT is king with the $5. The biggest fail was AA removing the best British era unpopular opinions show, the Filthy Frank stream. Look forward to Dank's Mad Lad on Trump in 4 years.
The first episode 107 is heresy.
And Jedi Knight Anna Quinn Cringewalker again with the $2. Clap, Admiral, clap, ye, clap, Mad Lad. Clap emoji.
Admiral what?
Admiral Yi.
Admiral Yi.
Admiral Yi.
Not familiar with that one. Fair enough.
And Architect of Fate at the $5. Wholesome stream about seals. How Dank's going to seal Soph's lips around his Scottish cheese.
His mouth is going to be going around mine.
Right on.
Fight.
He'd enjoy that.
Probably.
Rose went into that super chat just so optimistic.
I was so happy. It was like, oh my god, look, it's about look at these wholesome posts about seals, and then I read it.
Her smile, her optimism.
My blood sank.
Right, I might have to bow out myself now, unfortunately, because I've just realised I've got more of an early start tomorrow than I realised. I've got to help my sister out with some wholesome Christmas stuff.
Merry Christmas, Scrump.
Yes.
Merry Christmas, Scrump. Thank you for coming on.
Yes. I hate to be the co-host and leave early, but I've got a bit of an early start tomorrow. So Merry Christmas to all of you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thanks to
Merry
everyone.
Christmas.
The seals will be saved. The seals will be saved from the evil small Scottish woman.
Cthulhu.
And again, we seem to have a really interesting moment where someone leaves and then somebody else arrives. So we actually have our final guest for the night. Omegon sadly can't be with us, but we do have Arielle. Thanks for joining us.
Arielle. Hi, it's Bob.
Hey. How's everybody doing?
Good.
And also Louise had to head off as well. So Arielle, how is your Christmas so far?
I just went out to eat. I'm in Florida, and restaurants are at 100% capacity if you choose to be in one.
Wow.
And most people are just eating outside, not because they're afraid of COVID, but because it's beautiful out. We have an awesome governor, awesome mayor. Things are good here.
Our state forced all our restaurants shut. It sucks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, coming from New York, where Governor Cuomo just shut everything down again because he's
same in LA.
What makes no sense to me is
it doesn't make any sense, Buck. You know what's funny is that I think there was I don't know if it was, I'm pretty sure it was real, but apparently all the owners of New York City restaurants put out a lifetime ban on Cuomo now. Like he's not allowed to eat he's not allowed to eat at their. I mean, whoever wants to let him eat, I guess he can let him eat. But like at general, like most of them were just like, "Fuck him! He's never eating at our restaurants again."
That's so New York. That is so New York.
That is New York.
What's weird to me here is fitness clubs can be open right now, so people can go work out and heavy breathe, but they can't sit at a restaurant, and so restaurants are being forced to remain closed.
That makes no sense.
None of it makes
I don't understand that.
No sense whatsoever. It's worse to be in a gym than it is to be in a restaurant because you're spewing, you're working out, so you're like, snot and spit is going everywhere. Well, when I work out, snot and spit goes everywhere.
So I need to actually before we find out Arielle's fail of the year, we need to ask Sophia before we miss her out.
Did I?
So what is your fail of the year?
Because I'm selfish and self-centered, I'm going to focus on gaming journalism because I'm always kind of fighting against it. I think more than any other year in like recent times, this was the biggest fucking fail for just game journalism across the board, where we're seeing, I call them jacktivists, journalist activists, have just been creating the dumbest controversies, doing the most amount of misreporting, focusing on the worst things where like, I've been keeping a continued thread going all year on Twitter of like journalists complaining about colonialism in a video game, or the whole more recent one, the whole trans debacle surrounding Cyberpunk, where there's a lot of criticism you can levy that way.
Right.
But the transphobic stuff is insane because one, it misrepresents a piece of advertising in the game, which is like quote unquote fetishizes a trans body, but that game has advertisements for men that are sexualized, women that are sexualized, trans women that are sexualized. Like everybody in this world is sexualized, but the journalist said that was transphobic. They then said that the game is like harmful to trans people, saying that it's going to lead to trans people getting killed, which is some Jack Thompson-esque rhetoric of like, oh, video games going to get people murdered.
What?
And but what's funny is Cyberpunk has a trans character who is probably her name's Claire in the game.
Yeah,
is probably the best represented trans person I've seen in a AAA video game in my life, because usually like trans characters in video games are really bad, where like there's Mass Effect Andromeda where like within like 10 seconds of talking to the person, they're like, I'm a tranny. It's like, because that's how that works. We just walk up to people we don't know and tell you. I know, like
so I don't like the modern day veganism.
That's right.
But through like Cyberpunk, you build up the trust of this character first, and it's like a deep part of her character lore, and it's like really respectfully well done.
Yeah,
and
but the only like I said earlier, the only cringy part about Claire is the massive trans pride flag.
Yeah. But I mean,
I really don't like that.
A lot of trans people do that, so I guess it's like, it's kind of cringe, but it's also like whatever.
Yeah.
If her character was always like, I'm trans, I'm super trans, like constantly in your face, I'd be like, okay, fuck your flag.
Yeah.
But in the context of how she's presented, I'm like, yeah, that's fine, whatever.
Yeah, she's a decent. She is a very strong character.
Yeah, but that would be my biggest fail of the year, is just game journalism, and then I had that big article earlier in the year about the clique, and so I've been kind of just going after them all year. So that would be my fail, just because that's where, again, I'm self-centered, and that is where my fear lies.
Excellent.
and Arielle, so you find last but not by no means least. So just to kind of explain everything. So 2020 has been a terrible year, but some of the different fails that have happened this year have been quite spectacular. So as you heard, like Sophia's fail of the year is gaming journalism, Buck's fail of the year is the whole trans children debate, and Dank's fail of the year is is a jar of cum.
A jar of cum. So good.
So I'd like to hear from you. It could be a personal fail. It could be
an actual fail, or a fail that wound up doing something good.
It could be a personal fail. It could be something that's happened in the government or anything. So what do you think is the fail of the year?
Oh man. I mean, electing Joe Biden. I'll say this. I think the biggest fail of the year is the amount of hate that the LGBT community, people in the LGBT community, have gotten for not siding with Democrats. In the same way that Brexit is hated on.
Yeah.
The gay. I don't even consider myself a conservative. I'm like a moderate. I'm a leftist that didn't continue going left. And I think the biggest fail of the year has been the amount of people that the Democratic Party keep losing because of their hatefulness, their hatred of just anyone who isn't completely on board with everything they're doing.
That's true.
I know that's like a more serious one, but like it's a big deal, right? Like
it's a big deal here. It's a big deal here.
Big deal.
I have a really funny fail I can end things on. And this will get me mocked forever. My biggest personal fail is for the second time in my life, the second time in 4 years, I accidentally burned my dick on a hair straightener.
Yeah. How?
Okay, well,
it was on the counter, and I was
when you're naked. That's not a good idea.
I'd gotten out, I'd washed my hair, I was drying off, and I'd set it on the counter, and I leaned forward to clean some stuff on my face, and it wasn't bad, but it's happened twice in my life now.
Right on.
So there's my big personal fail that will forever follow me because I just said that publicly on a stream with hundreds of people.
And maybe you're going to get a scar. You're going to have a scar on your...
Luckily, no scarring.
So it's not just naturally curly or anything. You've not got some kind of duck thing going on, right?
No. I would do parlor tricks if I did.
Me neither. I don't know anyone with that. Stop asking.
Oh, crazy again! This is supposed to be a wholesome stream for seals,
and I've ruined it. You're welcome.
I've got wholesome stuff. I've got optimism. I think we can look forward to lots of stuff in the year ahead.
Oh, what like?
I think so.
I think 2021 is the year whereby any MP goes to a pub or a restaurant and their order is politely, enthusiastically, and kindly taken, and they are served with a bucket of shit, regardless of what order they place. Just imagine it.
If you saw the news today, they are saying that eating shit is not healthy.
Live in the pod.
That was a legit article, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's a little more complex than that, but yeah, that was a real article from Newsmax or something.
Looking pretty good now.
Bloody hell! So the stream has been going on for a while now, and so I think we've talked about what everyone's fail of the year has been, but what I would like to see now from the audience is effectively the final seal of approval this year. And so I want people to vote on who they think had the best fail of the year. There have been too many. It's funny to remember each one. But if you put in the chat who you think had the most spectacular fail.
Wait, I have a good one. I have a good one. I have a good personal one. Yeah. I have a good personal one. There was this girl on a dating app that I had been eyeing for a while. Mm-hmm. And like she just comes up on Bumble and Hinge, and I'm banned from Tinder now, but she would come up on there, and I would always swipe right, and sometimes they like after a year they come up again, and I'll like swipe right, whatever, and I'm like, I'm wondering why she's like never messaged me, and then we matched one day, and she didn't say anything, and I didn't say anything, of course, because that's what lesbians do, and then I was on Twitter, and I said something, and I saw in my @ replies, she was like, turf, 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 turf. And I'm like, that's why she never wrote back to me. it's like getting into my dating life now.
That's totally.
Oh my God. Like, first of all, like, who the hell is this girl? She doesn't even fucking know me.
So, Rose, I wanted to say.
It's the first time that it's ventured from the dating world to Twitter or vice versa. Like that was yeah. Wow. It's starting to become one thing.
Right.
So, Rose, I'm currently on your show on the seal of approval 3 through 3 for all my appearances as the seal of approval. And I really hope my 4th win is the straightener story, because that would be perfect.
I think you literally won every single time. Not only do you win, you normally win by quite a high margin. So I think you really are the seal MVP.
It is, I know, but I rigged the election, so
I've rigged
the voting machines.
So having had a look through the chat, it's pretty clear. Pretty
I need
clear.
to know what this cum jar is. Like, what is that?
I don't know what the cum jar is.
What is that? Somebody
like lesbian with the cum jar is.
I think Dan could probably be the best person to explain.
You're gonna have to explain quickly to me.
Explain. Sorry, I heard cum jar and heard my name. And apparently I'm an authority on the subject. So please continue. What was that again?
What is it?
So good. It's a jar with cum in it, pretty much.
Okay, I have created such a thing. I have experience. I've even got it on my resume.
The cum jar.
Yes.
Why?
You'll have to print a new one. You cannot wipe that stuff off, dang.
Well, but to be, you can wipe it off. You're just not putting in enough elbow grease. Don't be lazy.
I don't want to know why you do it.
You don't want to know as a lesbian. Trust me, you don't want to know.
I do not want to know. I've never heard of anybody.
Dudes are pigs. They're just pigs.
They're pigs.
I'm such a pig.
Women aren't much. I mean, women are kind of a little bit better, but like women are kind of good too.
Yeah, but that's true. But it's a different kind of piggy. I think girls are a different kind of piggy.
Yeah, like I know women.
Why do you think dudes have skid marks in their underwear? I never see chicks with skid marks.
But I have like I've heard couples and like even like people I dated in the past, like when we hooked up or something, and then like later on. We're out and we're like, oh, I still taste you, or something like that. Like,
Lord have mercy.
I love it. That's so good.
God damn it. So yeah, it looks like Dank's pretty special story won the seal of approval.
You won.
Nice.
With Dank only grows.
Could well be the last seal of approval for 2020.
Quite jarring.
A cum jar. I'm
quite jarring.
Jarring. I'm going to go do some canning now. See you later.
Dank and I were already fighting over femboys, and now I need to fight with him because his cum jar broke my record.
There's no need for me to argue with what I own.
Right. So I got some more super chats to read out. So Charity Rivers with the $9.99. Being surrounded by trans activists in real life, I can attest that these people are on a whole other planet. Having Blair White fan Discord name made my uni's LGBT society threaten to ban me.
Oh, wow.
I believe that 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Like these things are insane.
The most heartbreaking messages I get all the time, or I get like, because I have open DMs and all that, I'll get messages from people that are like, I disagree with a lot of your politics. Like they'll straight up tell me like they're pretty left leaning, but they'll be like, I really hate that I can't talk about certain things without being canceled. Because there is this like almost authoritarian, like, you go against us, we're gonna fucking silence you, and it is really sad.
Yeah.
There's there are so many trans people that oppose like the sheer absurdity that is rising up, like the whole genital preferences are transphobic bullshit.
Yeah.
But if they speak out on that, you're done.
Oh no, they're too scared. Yeah, because that mob is insane. But I think all of us sitting here in this space right now are the ones who push back hard, and that's why they're fearful of us, because we won't shut up. And that's the thing. That's how powerful we are. All of us here are very powerful because do not shut up.
Yeah, and what's really hard is for those who aren't big like us, or who they lose that connection to their community that a lot of these people, especially if you're new to being trans, you need. And if you say the wrong thing, they kick you out of the community and you feel like you have no friends, especially like, you know, I think most of us here are kind of more center right. And so if you're like, you know, like I'm friends with a lot of leftists, but a lot of them have this view set that like they should be friends only with the left still. And they really, they lose their community if they go against it. And that is for someone who is just coming out as trans, someone just starting a transition, even someone who's just freshly out of the closet as gay, losing that community is like really fucking hard, because that is a support network that I don't think some people realize how necessary.
One thing that I really don't like, and I do say that want to make this point clear, is people think that there is no space whatsoever on the right for LGBT people, as if like, oh, if I go to the right, there will be absolutely no support from me, like whatsoever. I'm going to get mocked, I'm going to get ridiculed, I'm going to get rejected. Now,
I've had the opposite experience of that.
Well, that's the thing. Is
I get like no hate. I get no transphobic abuse, like almost never.
That's right.
Like I will say, like I'm not going to say that there isn't any of that on the right whatsoever. I'm not going to say that, but the fact is, like, that like I don't like the fact that people think, oh, if I do this, I'm completely alone, I'm fucked, and everything like that. Like, no, that absolutely is support for you coming out as gay or coming out as trans and stuff like that. Like on the right, that absolutely is there, and it's like,
there's the old guard on the right who can somewhat be a little more anti-LGBT, but I think what a lot of people fail to realize is there's like this younger, newer, hipper kind of right-leaning audience coming in that are accepting of social issues, where they're a little more socially progressive than I think people would think. Where like a lot of like the millennial right-leaning people, like they don't care if someone's gay. They, in most cases, don't care if someone's trans. They just don't like the trans people that are like, you're transphobic if you don't suck my dick.
That's right.
That's
totally right. Yes, you hit it right.
You hear that, Charity? Do not back down. Push back. In fact, push back even harder. Change your name in that chat room to Blair White Supremacist.
Oh no!
That'll show him.
That's excellent.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, it's brilliant.
If you just got it on the spot, that was brilliant.
Blair White needs to make that
very
a shirt.
sorry,
A Blair White supremacist. You need to sell that as merch.
She should. She should sell it as merch.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's hilarious.
Jedi Knight Anna Queen Cringe Walk with the $5. Admiral Yi sunk 300 Japanese ships with his one by basically saying, yeah, but what if it works, for every idea suggested to him by drunk peasants. Architect of Fate of the $2. Biggest fail, Bearing's Trumpy Bear video.
Oh, sweet Jesus. That's a long running meme. That's been over a year now where Baron's been like, yeah, don't worry, my Trumpy Bear video will be up soon, and it just never fucking happens. It's become a meme now. I think he's actually just completely gave up on it. Yeah, it's a long running thing. It's a big meme.
Architect of Fate again with the $2. Who pushes back harder, Sophie or Dank?
I don't know. I think I'm more of a fighter these days. I am always on the fucking offense.
Hold on a little second here. Right now, right. Wait a minute. I realize that there is a lot of rumors going around about my sexuality. Right, I understand. Okay, but whenever I have sex with a trap or a femboy, I do not touch their penis because that is gay. Right?
It's only gay when the dick's touched. Is that what it is?
That's right.
Exactly. See, you get it. You get
I
it.
get
Right?
it.
It's you absolutely get it right now. I'll admit, right? People keep going like, I don't understand, Dank. I don't know how much of what he says is like irony or like is fake or something like that. Right? I will say for the record now, as I've said many times, I have in fact had sex with traps or femboys, and as a completely straight man, right, completely 100% straight man, right, I did not touch their penis, therefore I am straight.
It's
right?
Ghostbusters rules. Just don't cross the streams. You're all good.
See, you get me. You
I think I understand what you're saying, because that, to me, that would be the same thing as a straight woman who lets a girl eat her out but doesn't do anything back.
Right.
And they would be like, well, I'm still straight. And
That's
I
right.
That's the thing. Is right. I won't give a reach around, which okay, little bit rude, right? I get it.
I understand what you're trying to say.
But you know, fucking deal with it. I don't care.
Right, but as a straight man, would you let another man suck your dick?
Define man.
Define man. Excellent answer. Excellent answer. Okay.
No, there's a huge meme of what is Count Dankula's sexuality, and then the other meme is, does Count Dankula even know his sexuality?
Excellent. That's awesome. Okay, how about a man with a vagina? Would you let a man with a vagina suck your dick?
Vaginas are pretty straight. So
Excellent.
Can't argue with that.
Exactly, flawless logic. I am the Jordan Peterson of denying reality. I'm just saying, what is Count Dankula's sexuality? I don't know. Depends how I feel.
Right on.
The stream manages to be wholesome for about 14 seconds before we swerve hard.
Like, so look at this super chat, guys. Jedi Knight Anna Quinn Cringe. Jedi Knight Anna Quinn Cringe Walker says, "Have a holly jolly sealy Christmas." Isn't that sweet? Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice and wholesome and not at all pathetic? Absolutely corrupted. I invited all these people on. Like, that's wholesome seal chat.
Do you think the Seal Sanctuary is going to give a link to this?
Oh God, no.
God, no.
Like, I don't. What I'm scared of is, like, you know, I send them the money and then you have a load of like rabid leftists being like, "Oh, did you hear about the jar of cum on the screen?"
My God.
And then the seals are denied a Christmas.
I guarantee you right now.
I gotta go. I just want to say, have a beautiful holiday, okay? And then we'll talk later.
Love you.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, right on. Right on.
Meet you in voice now.
Yeah, you too. So it's really great to meet everybody and hang out and just keep talking shit and have a great day.
See you later, Bob.
Okay,
bye.
See you later, man.
He missed the comment that somebody wrote. Is that an offer? But he said, "How about a man with a vagina?"
Oh, God.
I believe I may have scared Buck away. I apologize, Rose.
How much will the Tank and Buck video sell for?
That is our next Seal fundraiser.
I guarantee you the Seal Society comes out and disavows this entire stream.
All I want to do.
We here at the Seal Society, we will do better. We will get better. We will take this as a learning experience.
No.
Rose, what would you do?
Rose just doesn't want to get disavowed by seals.
Look, guys, look, this is the seal of the year.
He's giving faith.
Let's just get some wholesomeness here.
He's giving faith.
No, Rose, have you ever seen those completely, well, not really off topic, but it's the seal. There's a group of guys in, I believe it's Namibia, and they're a seal conservation society, and basically there's a beach. See how whenever seals like breed, they leave their cubs on the beach so that they can go out and hunt fish.
Yeah.
Basically, there's just a beach in Namibia that is absolutely packed full of seal cubs. But unfortunately, whenever the seal cubs are in the water, they get tangled in fishing line and tangled in plastic and all that stuff. And these guys basically, like, they use binoculars to spy on the seal cubs to see which ones are tangled. And then they just charge into the giant crowd of seals to, like, grab the little babies that have got, like, fishing line round their neck and stuff like that. And they untangle them. And like, the thing that's amazing is the seal cubs are... It's almost like they're appreciative, as if they've realized what the guys have just done for them. So at first they're like running away, trying to get away from them, but then afterwards they're like, "Oh, you're actually pretty cool. Thanks very much, bro. Thanks, man."
I have seen one. I think it is a load of fur seals. So I think it's in like South Africa, and like they run onto the beach and they chase after the seals because one of them has like a finger around its neck, and so the guy gets on top of the seal and he's removing it, and then as soon as he's standing up. Basically in the same movements that he is standing up, the baby seal actually kind of turns its neck and then actually jumps at his dick and very, very nearly bites it off.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, really. This is a real video.
Are those seals or those?
I mean, they're fur seals, so they're not true seals.
In San Francisco, right?
No, South Africa.
No, which ones are the ones in San Francisco?
They're sea lions.
Oh, sea lions. That's right.
Yeah, they're sea lions.
They're the bigger ones.
Yeah, they're not as good.
The thing that I found funny is the guys that do it are
They're
buff.
lazy and fat, and they just kind of laid on the deck.
The guys that do it are like buff and they're very athletic and stuff like that. But even just because like a baby seal is a baby seal, it doesn't mean that it can't fucking move. They can move fucking quick, especially if they're scared. Really? And it's hilarious. Even though this seal's completely tangled in fishing line, this guy's like sprinting down the beach at full speed to try and catch this seal to cut off the fishing line. And the seal's actually getting away from him, and you can hear the guy getting angry, like, what the fuck? How the fuck can this baby move faster than me?
It's this like the way in which the flippers of a fur seal work is like they can turn around and kind of effectively act as little legs, whereas a true seal like the one pictured here, they're basically just fat. So they basically just bounce. They galump. They galump. Like. That's the official term for a seal moving.
You get wild seals here in Scotland as well. There's a place that I go to in Fife, which is on the east coast, called St. Monans, and they've got like a fishing dock, and basically all the big fishing boats, like a lot of them do their gutting like on the boat, and they like just throw the head, the tails, and the guts overboard, and the seals pick them off. But if you've got a smaller fishing boat that a seal can actually get into, those are the fishermen that get really angry. And I remember sitting on the dock and hearing just, fuck off, get the fuck, and I turn around and it's just this fisherman chasing a seal off his boat because it's got one of his giant fish in its mouth. And he's like, I've seen guys actually trying to wrestle the fish out of the seal's mouth, and the seal's like, lol, no, and jumps into the water, swimming away with the guy's fish. Yeah, it's hilarious.
Based seals.
So reclaim your birthright, a fish.
So we finally did it. We finally made the stream wholesome. after 2 hours.
We ruin it.
2 hours and 50 minutes.
All it took was some softcore seal alt-right memes.
I have a random question because my flight to London. Remember, I was supposed to come to London.
Yes. Yeah.
In like July or whatever it was, or April. I don't remember what. Yeah. It was April. So, is it a good idea to come this April instead? Because I have to use that ticket.
No, I would hold off. I would hold off until the summer.
The summer, okay.
Yeah, but Boris is fucking shut up. Like, don't just basically as shitty as it sounds. Don't commit to anything right now because it'll just get fucked up.
Yeah, like in the summer, I think things will be more likely, but in April, I think we'll still be in a lockdown in April.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be very, very surprised if we're even in these stupid tiers. I think it'll be a full blown lockdown from January till March or April. I think they'll go the full hog.
Here in the States, it'll be interesting to see what happens when Biden comes in. I imagine there'll be some lockdown, like nationwide things or rules.
Sophia, where are you located again? I forget.
Minnesota.
Okay. Ugh, it's got to be bad over there.
We have a huge blizzard today with up to 11 inches of snow.
Yeah. No, I didn't even mean like that. I meant like super blue state for the most part.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, as a lot of people probably saw when I was covering the riots, like I was there in the Minneapolis when everything went down. It hasn't gotten better.
Bad. Wasn't that where they like told the governor or the mayor like to fuck off or whatever?
Yeah.
Wasn't that was Minnesota, right? Minneapolis.
And everybody hates the mayor, so like the blue people, the rioters, hate the mayor because he won't defund the police.
Right.
And then the right hates the mayor because it was him who called. The reason the third precinct police station burned down is because he made a call to force the police to retreat. So the police had to leave their police station, and then the rioters burned the entire thing down. So like everybody hates this guy.
I feel bad for him, kind of.
He wears Hillary Clinton socks. He's weird. Don't feel bad for him. No, he posted pictures on Twitter with his Hillary Clinton socks.
I believe you.
The mayor, he's weird. He's a weird one. I would hate to see what underwear he's wearing.
So I think now is because the stream's been going on now for nearly 3 hours, and just want to announce how much money we've raised for seals. So like this is actually incredible. So far, we've received a total of $286.13.
Where's that going to?
It's going to the Cornish Seal Sanctuary in Cornwall.
Oh, that's
yay.
cute. I didn't know there was a cause on the stream.
Yeah, there is. So all the super chats are being donated to the Seal Sanctuary because it's Christmas. It is a time for giving, and I want to give to the seals. So so all of this is good. So this is now, I think we've now kind of got to the end of the Christmas party. It's the wrapping up. They put on Mr. Brightside one more time, and then everyone's kind of has to shoo out. But I want to thank everyone for who joined on this stream. So that was like actually quite a big list of guests. Like this is by far the biggest stream that I've ever done. So I'd like to thank all my guests, which is Scrump, Sophia Narwitz, Arielle Scarcella, Book Angel, Konstantin Kisin, Count Dankula, Tailed Feature, Louis Lavu, Not So Obvious, High and Gladive, Proper Horror Show, and Owine.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for all the invites this year. It's been a fun time.
I've thanked everyone who's been on my streams, everyone who's been donating their super chats, everyone who supported me this year. I know it's been a bit of a weird year for my channel because I had to have some time off, and I've been struggling with things like depression, which I've been very open about. But all of your continued support and it has very, very much helped me, and I really, really appreciate it. So thank you. Oh my god! So we actually have one more super chat.
I just saw that. Really sweet.
€50 from Mr. Twisted Frenzy for the seals. Wow. So that takes up the total to $347.06.
That's awesome.
That's incredible.
It is.
Good stuff, Mr. Twisted Frenzy. Good stuff.
That's amazing. And they get to donate that to the seals, and they get to have a really nice new year. That's amazing. Like seriously, thank you so much.
Really nice new year.
Like these causes, I know, it might sound a bit weird that I love seals, but for this year, they've been like a nice kind of thing for me to focus on when everything else has been shit. Like they've been a nice thing for me to focus on, and so just doing nice things like this really does help. But yeah, I'd like to thank everyone who has been a guest on not just this show, but on every other show that I've done. Everyone who sent in a super chat at any point, everyone who supports me on Patreon, Subscribestar, and subscribes to me on YouTube, and even just tunes into my videos. So I just thanks everyone. Have a lovely Christmas. Don't let the bastards grind you down. But yeah, there probably will be a stream next Wednesday, but it'll be a bit different to this one. I haven't really thought about it, so I don't know. But anyway, thanks everyone for tuning in, and have a lovely Christmas.
Thank you, and congrats on your growth this year. Seeing your channel hit 40K was really cool.
Thank you.
You've had a good one. You're doing good.
Thanks. See you all later. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Merry Christmas, y'all.